Ex's long-distance disruption.
Kenny is laying around the pool in Florida with his girlfriend. Kenny called the police.
I was freaking out.
His whole life is being ruled by one organ, and it is not above his neck.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Lori Cole is suing her estranged mother-in-law, Judith Cole, for a false restraining order and lost wages.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 344 on the calendar in the matter of Cole versus Cole.
Thank you very much, Bert.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Won't you folks have a seat, please?
Happy birthday.
Thank you, Judge.
Old man. Miss Cole, this is your soon-to-be former mother-in-law. And it is your claim that she filed for a protective order against you, requiring you to hire an attorney, and you want her to be responsible for those attorney's fees, plus, because you say she had no basis to file for a protective order.
Correct.
She said she didn't. How long have you been married to the defendant's son?
18 years.
And you have children?
Yes.
How many?
3.
How old?
15, 13, and 11.
You've been separated since when?
He left on June 24th.
Of this year?
Yes.
To go where?
To pursue his relationship with his girlfriend.
So he has a girlfriend?
Yes.
Is there currently a support order?
Yes.
And what is the support order for the 3 children?
It's $1,407.
A month?
For child support, yes.
And when was that order put into place?
On October 28th, 2017.
2016.
16, I'm sorry. But prior to that, we had an agreement with our prospective lawyers that he would pay me for child support of $1,407 until we could agree upon the stipulation.
And the stipulation reflected the amount that the 2 lawyers had gotten together. Okay. How long prior to October 28th, when that stipulation was actually put into place, had he been paying you the $1,400 a month?
Sporadically. Sometimes
well,
he'd
let's
pay
talk
it,
about it. We're not talking about that many months. He left the end of June. Did he give you any money in July?
Yes, not all of it.
How much?
$800.
And what about August?
My mother-in-law wrote a check for $1,400. I'm not exactly sure.
Well, did you call her?
No, I did not. He handed me the check. My husband handed me the check.
Handed you a check written by your mother-in-law?
Yes. You want to see it?
No, I don't have to see it. But you had no conversation with her?
No.
No,
but
that was in
I've
August.
had conversation with her.
No. But you didn't have any conversation about money in August?
No, I did not.
And it was out of her bank account?
Yes.
So far correct. In August?
I don't recall it.
Okay, well, if you don't recall, then I take her word for it that in August it was your check.
You wrote a check down?
Sure.
I wrote it.
If you don't recall, then I have to rely on the plaintiff from her memory that the August check was written by you. You'll never know, Miss Cole Sr., where I'm going. So I would suggest you not try to figure out where I'm going. You just tell me the truth. Do we understand each other? Perfect. Now, let's go back. So now we're in September. In September, did he give you a check?
So what happened was on August 30th, I was alerted by the bank that my husband withdrew $1,472, funds that were not supposed to be touched. Our lawyers said, do not touch that money.
Was that in a joint account?
Yes.
Stand up. Did you withdraw $1,472 from a joint account in August? For what?
Because she was transferring money, utilizing that money. I said, I'm withdrawing half of what was mine, half of the money that was in there.
Just a second. You had an agreement with your respective lawyers not to touch a pool of money. I think we're not going back here years of separation. So at the end of June, how much was in that account, Mr. Cole?
The end of June?
Yeah, when you left.
Nothing. Nothing.
Zero.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything.
Zero. Okay. And who put money in there in July?
It was a tax refund. Tax refund.
So a tax refund came in?
Correct.
In what month?
August, I believe. Yeah, August. We were in court.
So in August, tax refund went directly into the account?
Yes.
In what amount?
Just under $6,000.
So $6,000 went into the bank in August. Do you remember what date in August?
No.
Do you remember what date in August, Mrs. Cole?
I think it was between August 8th and August 10th of 2016.
And on what date did you draw out $1,472?
Towards the end of the month.
Now I want you to think very, very carefully, Mr. Cole. During that 2-week period, because you said you drew out this $1,472 because your wife, who has custody of your 3 children, was using that money for other things. I would like you to itemize the other things she was using the money for so that you felt entitled to take out $1,472.
I don't know exactly
You
what.
see money coming out for a spray tan or for breast augmentation?
No.
Then I'd like you to tell me what other things there were that you triggered in your mind an entitlement to remove funds from an account that a judge had said to you, don't touch.
It was the attorneys that said don't touch.
Fine, attorneys.
Okay.
Yours and hers.
And she was taking money out of the account, and
Just
before
a
it
second. Just a
disappeared.
second. Well, so then you've changed your statement. Your first statement is she was taking out money out of the account for things that she shouldn't take money out of the account for. Okay? So now you're not saying that she shouldn't have taken money out of the account for frivolous things. It could have been for other things, but you don't know what they were. So I'd like you to tell me how much money she took out of the account.
It was probably in the realm of a few hundreds of dollars.
No. You went against an agreement with your attorney, and you took out an odd number, $1,472. Now, she looks like she's got everything written down very, very carefully. You are standing there with your mother with nothing in front of you. Is it correct that in the month of July, you didn't send $1,400 for the support of your children?
No.
How much did you send for the support of your children in the month of July?
I don't have that paperwork in front of me.
Well, where did you think you were coming today? To the beach?
We were coming to...
Just a second. Where did you think you were coming? You were coming to the beach? No, this is all leading up to what happened on the date that your former wife, and I'm not usually, if you ever watch this program, you understand, I'm an ecumenical abuser. If I think that she did the wrong thing by going to your mother's house because something was wrong with a check, I'll let her have it. But right now, I'm not getting a good vibe from your side. Because first, you tell me that you touched money that you weren't supposed to touch because she was using it for things she shouldn't have. That triggers in my mind, if I didn't ask the next question, you know, going to get gels on her nails instead of supporting your 3 children who are 15, 13, and 11, okay? And you can't support 3 goldfish on $1,400 a month. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't want you to think that they're living high at the Ritz on your $1,400 a month, okay, which you didn't pay in July. So now we go to she's using things that she shouldn't have. She took out some money. How much? I don't remember. A couple of $100. Well, a couple of $100 isn't $1,472. Where did you get the figure from, $1,472 that you took out of the account that was supposed to be untouched?
That was left in the account.
Okay. Is it correct that in August, half of the refund had already been utilized by you?
So when we went to sit down to discuss the stipulation, we took the tax refund and we used it for marital debt.
What marital debt?
Since he had left, the utility bills that weren't paid, the rent that was due.
And was
it
that
school
discussed in
supplies.
the stipulation that part of the tax refund check would be used for that?
Yes.
Very easy phone call to the lawyers. Do you recall that at the stipulation settlement meeting, that part of the refund check would be used for marital debt?
Absolutely.
So she used part of that money to pay water, rent, utilities, etc. And what was left there in that little pot was $2,900, which both of you were told not to touch. But you did.
After she did.
No.
No, she didn't. What
didn't.
she's saying is she used that money, unless you can tell me that she got gels on her nails twice a week. I asked you a question, and the question was, what did she spend the money on that was not marital debt that had already been discussed with both of you? You're not talking about a lot of money here, sir.
No.
Okay, I got you. I got who we are and where we're going. Now you can sit. Now you leave your mother all by herself.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So Kenny is laying around the pool having a drink with an umbrella in it with his girlfriend. You don't call the police, he does, from Florida. So the police arrive. The police said, well, if she was that annoying, you could file for a protective order, right?
Right.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Laurie Cole says her estranged mother-in-law, Judith Cole, filed a false restraining order against her.
Now we're moving to September. Go ahead.
Okay, so on August 30th, 2016, he transferred out the $1,472.
Got it.
That was the day before my rent was due. So I was freaking out because I had to pay the rent.
Got it.
I have a 10-month position job as a teaching assistant. I lost my second job because I had no child care because he left. I was a waitress. I worked on weekends. I worked 7 days a week.
Got it.
So called my mother to tell her what happened because I found out he booked a trip to Florida.
Got it.
So he left to go to Florida.
Did your son discuss with you going to Florida in August?
I did not know at the time that he was going to Florida. I found out a few days later.
A few days after he left?
Yes.
Did he call you?
I called him.
Under what circumstances did you call him?
He left me with a check on August 31st for Laurie.
So he left you a check, but that check was dated what?
September 31st.
Okay. Well, we all know from second grade, 30 days hath September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, except for February, which has 28, and sometimes 29. We all know that, right?
Of course.
I mean, he's not an idiot.
No, he's not. He's not at all.
Fine. So he left you a check that the date on it was wrong.
Yes.
When did he give you the check?
The day before, on the 31st.
Of August?
Of August, yes.
He delivered it personally.
He came and wrote it out at my kitchen table.
And at that time, he didn't tell you he was going to Florida.
No. He was in a hurry and he wrote out the check.
Do you think he was embarrassed that he was going to Florida?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, you know, I don't believe a word you just said to me.
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Cole, do you want to know why I don't believe a word that you just said to me? I'm going to tell you. Because the previous month, according to the information, handed her physically a check that you had written out for her. So that was the custom. He handed her the check because they haven't been separated that long. So if he's coming to your house and sitting at the kitchen table and writing out a check and putting it in an envelope and saying to you, give this to Laurie, my reaction, because I have children. What's his first name?
Kenneth.
I would say, Kenny. Why don't you give her the check yourself when you see the kids? And he would say, Mom, I'm going to Florida with my girlfriend. That's the way the conversation goes. Not, here, give this to Laurie. I'll see you, Ma. Goodbye. So I don't believe that you called him a few days later.
I called
Now,
him.
you called him why?
I called him on September 1st when Laurie came to my house for the check.
Right. You came to the house to pick up her check.
Yes.
Because you called her.
Well, her mother called me first.
Her mother called you and said, they don't have rent because your Kenny took out money from the account that he wasn't supposed to touch and took his girlfriend to Florida. So you said, I have Laurie's check. Let her come and pick it up. Is that what you said?
I said I will call her to pick it up, yes.
I will call. So you called her.
She called me, and before I had time to call
Just
her.
a second. Whatever it is, she called
came.
you, which is what I
Right.
said.
Right.
Don't tell me time. She called you and said, I understand from my mother you have doing family court work for 40 years. You think that this is new? This is not new. I've told this story 5,000 times.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He's probably not a bad guy, your son.
Of course not.
Right now, his whole life is being ruled by one organ, and it is not above his neck.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Laurie Cole has accused her estranged mother-in-law, Judith Cole, of filing a false restraining order against her.
So she came over. You gave it to her in a sealed envelope?
Yes.
And she opened the envelope in front of you.
No, she did not.
She left.
Right. It was in my mailbox for her.
Oh, so you didn't even tell her to come in?
No.
Is there any reason why?
I just didn't want to. I didn't want to be bothered because it would be complaints over money and complaints over my son, and it is not my job to pay his bills. You're going to say, yes, I did in August, but the fight is
absolutely
between
not
him
your
and
job.
her and not me.
You're absolutely right. Just make sure that you don't have blinders on. You may have a 45-year-old son. And Kenny, you're 45. I told you when you did the wrong thing when you were 3 and 6 and 10, and you're doing the wrong thing now. You made these children. She made these children. It's not like she's a bum laying in bed and eating bonbons and saying, you know, you have to take care of me. She works.
Right.
You work, and your primary responsibility right now is during this transition period with your children, since you're not here anymore, to make sure that they feel secure. And the custodial parent, which happens to be their mother, because Kenny doesn't want the children. Kenny doesn't want the children full time. He's very happy with a part-time. Well, let me ask you this question. I won't even ask you. Don't go like this. Did the stipulation provide that you share custody 50-50?
No, I'm a custodial parent. He gets them every other weekend and one day a week.
That's what men usually want when they're 45, because his girlfriend don't want these children around all the time. She may say, I want to be their new mother.
She won't allow the children to be.
She may say, I love them and I want to be their mother. Not so. Not so. I'd rather go to Florida. So you have to take blinders off and just look at it from a dispassionate position. All right, so now she comes over, and the check is made out for September 31st. She comes back and she says, do something with the check. And she's angry.
To issue her my own personal check.
No.
Just a second. Yes. Just a second. Let's say she wanted you to issue her your own personal check, and you can say to the Zindi when he comes home from Florida, you're going to reimburse me $1,407 because that's what I gave Lori for the children because you wrote the check out wrong. What's wrong with that?
I had Kenneth on the phone, and he said, Mom, you can change the date on the check because there was a 9, and it could have so easily been made into an 8 for the date, and Lori would not permit me to do it.
Well, you know, he's probably not a bad guy, your son.
Of course not.
Right. Right now, his whole life is being ruled by one organ, and it is not above his neck.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, instead of saying, I'm in Florida, I don't want there to be any trouble. I wrote the check out wrong. I'll reimburse you as soon as I get back from my vacation. Write Lori a check out for the kids. I don't want her to be aggravated. So that's not what happened. And there was a whole kerfuffle, and she got aggravated and shot. She left. It was an unpleasant moment. Kenny is laying around the pool at the Fontainebleau in Florida with his girlfriend. Kenny called the police. Would that be a fair statement?
Oh, my
No,
God.
just a second. Just say a yes or a no.
Yes.
Did you call police, or
Yes.
did Kenny in Florida call the police?
Yes.
So Kenny is laying around the pool having a drink with an umbrella in it. You're there dealing with his problem. You don't call the police. He does, from Florida. So the police arrive, and you tell them what happened. She came here, she was annoying, she yelled at me and whatever. And according to your answer, the police said, well, if she was that annoying, you can file for a protective order, right?
Right.
So you said, she was nasty. My son is in Florida. Police said I could file for protective order. You go and you file for protective order. Not because you called the police and felt threatened, but because Kenny, drinking his margarita around the pool, he thought that you were threatened. So she hires a lawyer, and you go to court. But she had to pay for the lawyer separately from the matter. That's why we're here.
Yes.
That's why we're
Right,
here.
right.
How much did you pay the lawyer?
$1,783.
Judgment for the plaintiff, $1,783. We're done.
Wait.
We are done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge.
And justice has been served.
Well, I'm very sorry she's getting anything for it, and I hope
Let's move forward.
And hopefully he'll do the right thing from now on.
Let's just move forward, put all of this behind us, and do the right thing for our kids.
A dad left in the dark.
You didn't know that she had sent the children to Minnesota.
No. After troubling news comes to light.
There was a physical altercation between a child and him. So,
Which child?
my oldest.
Now, are their kids at risk again?
So now he gets custody of the children that he wasn't supposed to be left alone with.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Annie Linda Kugel and her son, 23-year-old Austin Koppelman, are suing Annie's sister, Kiara Davis, and her ex-husband, David Chakua, for travel expenses and child care costs.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 343 on the calendar. It's Chakua Davis. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
What is your last name?
Linda Kugel.
This is your sister.
It is.
And this gentleman is the father of your sister's children. How many children do you have?
3, sir. Ma'am.
Are the two of you married?
No.
This is your son.
He is.
And I assume he's here because he contributed money to this airfare.
Correct.
So I read your brief complaint and answer, and I'm trying to put the story together. Let me see, based upon some years in the family court, what I gather happened. You lived in the state of Texas.
Correct, I do.
And you live in the state of?
North Dakota.
And your 3 children were living with you in Texas.
Correct.
You started to have some difficulty, probably with a substance abuse problem.
I was diagnosed with epilepsy.
That's not what I asked you. The state doesn't usually become involved in a situation unless there is some sort of potential neglect of children. Was the family court involved with your children?
Due to an unlicensed daycare, yes.
The state became involved with your children?
Yes.
And they were threatening to remove the children from your custody?
Correct.
In Texas? Okay, that's the long and short of it.
Yep.
You called your sister?
Correct.
And I'm putting this together because while the particular what you're suing her, and you said to your sister, unless you take custody of the children, the state's going to put them in foster care.
Yeah.
Is that what she said to you?
Yes.
So your sister paid for the children to come down to live with her?
Correct.
You put the children, how old are they?
11, 9, and 7.
Put the 3 children on a plane?
Correct.
She had gotten the tickets, and you took custody of the children. When was that?
August 27th.
And when the children came to you, your sister had given you certain documentation so that you could enroll them in school.
She did.
Take care of their medical care, that she was giving you the authority to do that. Do you have that document with you?
I do.
I'd like to see it, please. This is a temporary guardianship agreement that you prepared and signed and notarized.
I did.
At some point, the children's father contacted you. When was that?
It was exactly 1 week after I had gotten the children to my house.
And how, sir, did you find out in North Dakota?
Yes.
You're starting to laugh. Don't start to smile.
I'm sorry.
Don't start to smile. It's not funny.
It's not. I'm sorry.
Great. How did you find out that the children were now living in Minnesota with their aunt?
She called me when I was in church and told me that her sister had refused to have her talk to the kids. So...
Just a minute. So she called you?
Yes.
And what did she want you to do?
She called me with a problem and she wanted me to solve it. That's typical of what she does.
So what did you do?
I was talking to my pastor and he said, oh, simple. Just call the sheriff when you get there. So I called the sheriff.
We're missing a step. It's like we went from chapter 1 to chapter 3. She called you with a problem.
Yes.
You started to tell me her problem was that her sister wasn't letting her speak to the children.
Yes.
So what do you need a sheriff for?
Because the sister would not give up the kids to me.
Just a second. What does her problem with speaking to the children have to do with you getting the children?
Because when I called the sister to ask her if she had the kids, she put the kids on the phone and the kids said they didn't want to see me. So my pastor was
Just a second. So you called the children because she...
I called her. I didn't call the kids.
Listen to me. She called you.
Yes.
Was that the first time that you knew that the children were in Minnesota?
Yes.
You didn't know that she had sent the children to Minnesota?
No, I knew the kids were in Texas.
So that would suggest to me if a week children...
No, she wouldn't let me...
Don't tell me wouldn't let.
Okay.
What I'm asking you is it suggests to me that if you have 3 children and a week went by, you hadn't spoken to them in at least a week because you had no idea that they were removed from Texas and they were now in Minnesota, right?
No, I did not.
Okay. When was the last time prior to August of this year that you saw the children?
I saw them in August.
Where?
In Minnesota. No, in North Dakota, because where I live in Fargo, the border is just...
I'm not talking about Minnesota when the children were with the plaintiff. I'm talking about when the children were with their mother in Texas. When was the last time you saw them?
I did not go to Texas.
So when was the last time, month and year, that you saw the children?
I saw them in August, because that's when she moved to
Prior,
Texas.
before August. Were you living together with her?
No, I wasn't. But
how long has it been since you've lived with the children?
I haven't lived with the kids because we
Ever?
have joint custody, so the kids keep moving back and forth. I moved her from Indiana to North Dakota so I could see my kids regularly.
When? Month and year? What?
I moved her.
February.
What?
In February.
In February.
Of 2000.
Kids were in North Dakota. You saw them.
Yes.
She left North Dakota.
April.
Fine. Now we have a date. You moved her there in February. She left North Dakota in April.
The following year.
April the following year.
Yes.
And went to Texas?
Correct.
Okay. Now, between April and August, April, May, June, July, and August, 5 months, did you see the children?
Yes.
Where?
They used to come to my apartment.
How did they get there from Texas?
No, in my...
From February until April, the kids went to your house every other weekend. After April, they came to Texas with me. They stayed with Texas with me and my mother.
Did he see the children?
No.
No, I did not.
For those 5 months?
No.
Why did you leave North Dakota?
There was a physical altercation between a child and him. So...
Which child?
My oldest.
Oldest, a boy or a girl?
Girl.
What kind of physical altercation?
Corporal punishment.
And did the family court become involved in that?
Yes.
And you left and took the children?
Correct.
Now, at some point, you took the sheriff and went to the plaintiff's house and got the children?
Yes.
That was in August?
Yes.
That was within the same month that plaintiff paid for the children to come?
Yes.
And you were in... Now, did you have a document from the children's mother granting you any temporary custodial rights?
Oh, I had my divorce decree.
Which divorce decree? Had you been married?
Yes, we were.
So you were married. So
Were.
you were married and divorced. So you had a divorce decree granting you joint custody.
Yes.
Did you tell the sheriff that there was a family court proceeding? No. Was there a protective order issued by the family court in North Dakota?
Wasn't dismissed.
There was
Yes.
a protective order.
Correct.
Not permitting him to be alone with the children.
Yes. And then it was dismissed.
Was it dismissed after you moved to
Yes.
Texas? Well, there's no reason for it. I'm all over it. There's no reason for it, so somebody went in and said, we don't need a protective order anymore for the children because I am taking the children and moving to another state. So we don't need a protective order anymore. People are so smart. If they only used all of that cunning to do something productive, everybody would be better off. So now he gets custody of the children that he wasn't supposed to be left alone with in their home state and with services in North Dakota. I got it. Now I understand because you were probably made aware by the 11-year-old of the proceedings in North Dakota, but she clearly must have had a law guardian representing her who thought that this whole thing was over because the mother had removed the children from a potentially dangerous situation that was not resolved by way of a trial, in all probability, but by you saying, I'm going to move away so we can take this all away. I got it. Fine. Let me explain something to you. This is why we're here today. We're here because you paid for the children to come. How much were their tickets to come to you?
$700.
For all of them?
Yes.
And how long did they remain with you?
1 week.
So actually, your out-of-pocket expense was $700.
And then I'd gone to the grocery store and...
That's all right. Your out-of-pocket expense was $700. I'm not going to do groceries for a week. Where do you live now, by the way? Where? Don't think.
Huh?
Where did you come from when you came to court?
Texas.
From Texas?
Correct.
Is that where you are living now?
Yes, it is.
And you are still in?
Fargo, North Dakota.
And where do the children live?
Fargo, North Dakota.
In foster care?
No, I have my 2 boys. I went to court last week, so I have.
So you have the 2 boys?
Correct.
Yes.
Since the 2 of you clearly had been in touch with each other, the 2 of you, in all probability, had something going on, but you needed the children to be removed from the jurisdiction.
Correct.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I mentioned the fund once she told me her son was murdered.
And they decided that your son's death did not fit within the parameters, so they turned you down. You're still obligated under this contract. You understand that?
Yes.
Well, give me the reason why you didn't pay.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Annie Linda Kugel and her son, Austin Koppelman, claim Annie's sister, Kiara Davis, and her ex-husband, David Chakua, owe for travel expenses and child care costs.
Now, they were going to remove the children from your custody for what? I don't know. They weren't going to let him have the children because he had this outstanding excessive corporal punishment case, which is either an abuse or a neglect case. So you got the children out, had the protective order dismissed. He shows up with a divorce decree. He gets custody. She's very smart. She says, I'm calling Child Protective Services. Meanwhile, she's out $700. And as far as I'm concerned, the $700 and the $100, we're finished. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Your kids aren't a pawn. Your kids are lives.
I don't believe that they're used as a pawn. I love my children very dearly.
They're real people, and they need to be treated like that.
I will do anything and everything I can for them.
Well, I hope the kids are happy and well taken care of.
It's hard on our family, and this just makes it even harder.
and now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Roberts versus Torres. Step forward.
Funeral home owner Monty Roberts is suing Cheryl Torres for unpaid funeral costs for her son.
Ms. Torres, I'm going to start with you, because I think I understand a little bit of what happened here. Your son was killed in what month and year?
February of last year.
And you went to
I'm sorry, in October.
Remember the date in October?
It was the 12th when they pronounced him dead.
And you went to Mr. Roberts' funeral home to make arrangements for your son's funeral?
Yes.
Had you ever been to Mr. Roberts' funeral home before?
No.
How were you referred there?
By my daughter's father.
Who had used their services before?
No, he just lives in that area, so he saw that one. So he told us about it.
And you went there. Who did you go there with?
My oldest daughter.
And you know that the plaintiff's services, when you went there, prepared to pay for your son's funeral.
Yes.
Did you have a budget for the funeral?
No, they had said that it was going to be under the victim's crime.
No. I'm not talking about what he said to you once you got there.
Okay.
I'm talking about, Ms. Torres, when you went to Mr. Roberts' facility, you knew that it was a for-profit facility. This wasn't free. You weren't saying, listen, we're not going to have a funeral for him because I can't afford it. When you went there, you knew that you had to pay something.
Yes.
So what I asked you was, and I assume you knew what budget you had in your head that you were prepared to spend for your son's funeral when you went there.
Yes.
What was that budget?
Well, being that I've never done that, so I knew it was going to be a couple of thousand.
Right. So you figured it would at least be $2,000. Did you figure it might be as much as $3,000?
Yes.
Because it's expensive.
Yes.
And you were prepared to pay that.
Yes.
And then when you went to Mr. Roberts' facility, you met with Mr. Roberts.
No, at first, no. What's that?
She met with you. Stand up. You work for Mr. Roberts?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not related to him.
I'm not.
So you met with Ms. Torres yourself.
I did.
Now, she explained the circumstances of her son's death?
It's really not in my position to...
The circumstances of her son's death.
She did.
Then you can sit down. And when Mr. Roberts, she discussed the circumstances of her son's death, were you the one who said that there is a fund for crime victims, because that's how she presented her son to you as a crime victim? There is a fund for crime victims' funeral expenses.
Yes, ma'am. In Tarrant County, there is.
So you explained that to her?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She didn't want to have a free funeral.
Yes, that's correct.
You wanted what you considered was a proper burial.
Yes, ma'am.
Because he offered you a free service, but Ms. Torres didn't want that.
Correct.
Where were you going to get the $3,000 from?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Funeral home owner Monty Roberts says Cheryl Torres owes for funeral costs for her son.
Now, what was the conversation that the two of you had with regard to that? Because that's what you're suing for.
Right.
You're suing for funeral expenses.
I explained to her that our funeral home never turns anybody away. I offered her a variety of different options, including free. That would have been what's called a Tarrant County burial. It's a dignified manner in which to get somebody buried. We own a cemetery as well as a funeral home. We sponsor, in part, with that program.
Okay. She didn't want to have a correct. You wanted a proper burial for your son, which you considered was a proper burial.
Yes, ma'am.
Because he offered you a free service, but small, but dignified.
Dignified.
But small.
But no ceremony.
But Ms. Torres didn't want that.
Correct.
And then who mentioned this fund?
I mentioned the fund once she told me the way that she put it was her son was murdered. I wanted to make sure that she knew that there were options available, including a fund through Tarrant County for any victim of a crime. They would pay up to $5,000.
Okay. And do you have a contract with her?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. Because what I assume is you did a funeral for her that she was satisfied with, but ultimately she did not get this grant.
That is correct.
Either because they did not view what happened to her son as murder, because I can't imagine if he was in fact murdered,
Correct.
but he's a crime victim, why they would not approve it.
The contract you're reading is both for funeral and cemetery.
I got it. Okay, would you show Ms. Torres this document, please? That is your signature there, Ms. Torres, when it says buyer?
Yes.
Okay, so you understand you have a binding contract with him to pay for the funeral service. You understand that?
Yes.
Well, give me the reason why you didn't pay him.
Okay. So everything was not...
I have a contract that you signed.
Okay.
The contract is very, very simple. It says that you are purchasing this. I actually understand what happened because they probably, on your behalf, submitted your son's name, etc., to this Victims' Compensation Board for the purposes of them covering the funeral. They decided that your son's death did not fit within the parameters of what they do, so they turned you down. You're still obligated under this contract.
Yes, ma'am.
This is your... So why didn't you pay him?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, give me the reason why you didn't pay him.
Well, I was paying. He had hired an attorney. I did pay a couple of payments to him.
How much?
I think it was $200 or $300 that I paid to him.
And then why did you stop?
And it's not that I so much stopped; it's that it was getting too hard that my bills weren't fitting with everything else.
But you were prepared, just for my own information, you were prepared to spend $3,000. Where were you going to get the $3,000 from?
Well, I would have tried to find it from somewhere. I mean, my family.
Right. You owe Mr. Roberts $5,000.
Excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
It's sad that we had to come to court and do it this way.
Because there's not enough money in this world to bring back my son.
It's a tragic thing that happened.
And of course he has a business to run, but it is right.
There's no winners.
I just know my son's at peace, so.
I'd be honored to help her again in the future if she needed my help.
And I'm even happy for Mr. Monty and what they've done for us.
I appreciate the kind words that she said.
There was stuff going on in the house that caused your neighbors to call the police.
A tenant who was too much to take?
So based on these reports, you moved to evict her.
Yes, ma'am.
I would too.
Or a landlord too hard to believe?
I can't go buy the house because I got chased off.
He went through every one of my boxes, all of my belongings, took what they wanted.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Listen, I find a lot about you suspect.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is
suing his former tenant, Tammy Warburg, for damage to his rental home.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 350 on the calendar in the matter of Ladine versus Wahlberg.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Mr. Ladine, you have a rental property that sounds to me as if it's a house.
That's correct.
How long have you owned the house?
2 years.
And I assume you bought it as an investment property.
That is correct.
How much did you pay for it?
$110,000.
Who did you buy it from?
I got it through a settlement.
What kind of settlement?
It was with an investor that I was a business partner. We both bought the property for an investment, and we were going to turn around and we were going to flip it slow, you know, and keep it for a little while, turn around, make some money off the resale of the house.
So it was a foreclosure?
It was a short sale.
What date did you purchase it?
It was in November of, it would have been 2 years ago, so 2014.
And when did you rent it to Miss Warburg's friend?
I started renting to him about 6 months after I took control of the property.
So he was your first tenant?
No,
or your second tenant?
That was second, yeah.
When did your first tenant move in?
I inherited.
But there was already a tenant there.
No, when I received it through the lawsuit that I had, it was rented out to someone through Renter's Warehouse.
And when did that tenant leave? Month that
And they left about 6 months after.
And within what period of time did you rent to Miss Warburg's friend?
It would have been a year ago.
So shortly after the other people moved out?
Correct.
And Miss Warburg's friend got into some difficulty. According to you, was caught stealing or something. I don't know why, whatever the reason. But prior to that, Miss Warburg had moved in with him.
They were business partners.
You had moved in with him?
I did.
And when he left the house, you asked Mr. Ladine if you could stay?
Yes.
And pay him rent?
Yes.
In what month and year was that?
July 2015.
And what was the rent that you were paying?
It started at $1,000 in July, and then in August it went up to $1,100, and then last July it went up to $1,450.
You were a month-to-month tenant?
Yes, I was.
So there was never a time after the short sale that you did any work in this house, because I just had a timeline that suggests that you had no extended period of time where you could have done any work, substantial work on this house, because you inherited it through the lawsuit with a tenant. Miss Warburg's boyfriend, his business partner moved in, and Miss Warburg was there until
October 31st. I was out completely.
Until October 31st for this year. So there was never any work done in the house by you in the timeline that you've just given me. It is your claim that Miss Warburg...
Your Honor, I did do some things to the house.
Marginal, based on the timeline you just gave me. You inherited the house with somebody in there. When they left, your business partner moved into the house. While he was living there, he invited Miss Warburg to move in with him. He moved out. She stayed on, and she was there until the end of October. So there was no time for you. I mean, when you were living there with his business partner, were they in construction in the house? Never.
But he did, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but he evicted me illegally.
Just a second, I'm not there yet. Anyway, your lawsuit is, so you did no work in the house. At some point, you say you were notified, and you must have reports to show me, that there was stuff going on in the house that caused your neighbors to call the police, and the police came. There was domestic violence. When you finally heard about it, you went and you found that the whole property looked like in the front. She had a trailer in the back, in the backyard, where some other people were living.
Correct.
What kind of trailer?
I wasn't there when the trailer was there.
Well, how do you know there was a trailer there?
Because of his paperwork. It was there at one point in time, but...
So there was a trailer. Well, and let's get it straight.
Yes, there was a trailer.
He has pictures?
Yes, there was a trailer.
I mean, you can make up things. You can make up things, you know, like the Wicked Witch of the North, or you're like the Good Witch from the East, or whatever it is. But for him to say she had a trailer parked in the yard, that's not something that he makes up.
It was something to do with him and the people that were back there.
Who?
Gary.
You mean he had tenants living back there in a trailer?
He told them they could put the trailer back there.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Hey, listen, I find a lot about you suspect. Just from the foot to foot, I find a lot about you suspect. Did you move the trailer back there?
I did not know.
Do you know who did?
I know who put the trailer back there, yes.
Who did?
Renee and Tyler.
Who was that?
It's a mutual friend of all of ours.
What was your relationship with the guy who was living in this house, his business partner?
We were just friends. His daughter also lived there, too, in the beginning. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I was downstairs. Fred and his daughter were upstairs.
Who lived in the trailer?
Nobody lived in the trailer. The trailer was just parked there.
Now, at some point, you moved to evict Miss Warburg. And then I'd like to see the paperwork indicating why and the documentation.
That was September 12th, 2016.
Okay. Tell me why.
Why? I got a call from officer of the Brooklyn Park Police Department.
I'd like to see the report.
Okay. Here's the eviction notice.
No. First, I want to see the police report.
Police reports.
And
these
then?
are for abatements, and these are from the Brooklyn Park Police.
Okay, good. Who's Kathleen Marie?
It's my friend.
And Pixley was your boyfriend?
Yes.
And you had an argument with him on July 19th?
I did.
And you wanted him out of the house?
Right.
So you told your friend who was staying with you to call the police and get him out of...
She wasn't staying with me. She was there. I was at the cemetery.
No, I understand, but she had been there for a couple of days, according to the police report.
She'd been there. She'd spent the night. Yes.
And you told her to call the police to have them get him out of there?
Yes.
Okay, so he didn't want to leave. You came back from the cemetery on July 19th, and then you had another fight with him, and the police came back to the house on that date. Okay, and he was off his meds, is that correct? And he did some damage inside the house.
No, he spit on the floor.
I'm not talking to you yet. And your daughter had gotten into a verbal argument with the same boyfriend back in May?
No, that was her boyfriend.
Oh, that's a different person.
Right.
Your daughter has a drug problem?
Yes, she does.
Boyfriend, too?
No.
He does not?
No, he does not. He's clean and sober.
Your Honor, I have evidence that he OD'd.
That was my boyfriend.
We're talking about her daughter's boyfriend. Kathleen is the same person.
Right.
She also called the police on the 19th?
That's the same day.
Same day. Then again on July 23rd?
I believe that was Julie had called the police that day.
Mm-hmm.
And that was about Mariah's boyfriend. And he had showed up.
Was your daughter's boyfriend staying at the house?
No, he was not. Not at that time.
But your daughter was?
No, my daughter wasn't either. I had custody of their kids at that time.
Her kids?
Mariah's, my daughter's children, my grandchildren.
How old are they? 2
and 5.
You have them through the foster care system?
I did.
So what was she doing in the house?
She wasn't there.
She was in your house.
What date was that?
Whatever date it was, what was she doing in the house?
No, in the beginning she was allowed there. It was after she didn't show up to court, and I believe that was in July or August. It was in August, and then she wasn't allowed there. But they were allowed to see the kids. Both her and Philip were. Philip's got custody of the children now.
Who does?
Did everything he had to.
Who's Renee Curtis?
She's one of the ones that put the trailer in the backyard.
And Tyler is her boyfriend?
Yes.
And he was also in the trailer?
He wasn't there that time.
But he had been in the trailer?
He had been, yeah.
So based on these reports, you moved to evict her?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. I would too.
Anybody would.
You don't have to help me. I would too.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I mean, what I see is a whole lot of other kind of living, which is whole different than this.
It was all painted, but that's how my house looked every day. My house was beautiful.
It's not your house, it's his house.
Well, when I lived there.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Gary Ledeen says former tenant Tammy Warburg severely damaged his rental home. Tammy is countersuing for impound fees.
Okay, so you went to court. Can I see the eviction notice, please? What property did she steal?
The trailer in the back was stolen from Fridley, Minnesota.
On what date?
That happened, I believe, on the 10th of October. At that time, she was notified about the... No, but I got evidence of the city making the complaints where they were located in the yards.
The abatement,
too. You want to see it? The abatement orders.
This is her countersuit with regard to the vehicles that were impounded. So I'm not there yet. I'll get there. At some point, when you had her evicted, you went in and you say you found damage to the home. I'd like to see the photographs of that.
Okay.
Who's the artist in your house?
That would be Pixley. But it's all painted. I mean, it's all fixed.
When?
I have pictures.
I'd like to see it.
It's airbrush. She wrote on before and after.
When was this picture taken?
That was taken before he had me evicted.
How much before I want to know, and this you want me to believe, that the crazies that were living in this house, that this is the way the house looked right
That's
before you had...
exactly how the house looked.
I mean, what I see is a whole lot of other kind of living, which is whole different than this.
It was all painted, but that's how my house looked every day. I had two living rooms, 2 bathrooms, 3...
Yes, it's his house.
Well, when I lived there. And he even was there at the end of July and told me how nice it looked. He came and used the bathroom. He knows my house was nice. He's the one who came in. He gutted the bathroom. He's doing this all for insurance. I never seen his pictures either.
Let me show them to you.
And I was packed, ready to move.
Would you give that to her?
When he had me evicted and then just went through all my stuff and threw it in the garage in a pile. Yeah, this is what he did after he had me taken out. I have more pictures, too. He went through every one of my boxes, all of my belongings, took what they wanted. He had somebody living in my house or in my property.
There's a pinball machine in the bathroom.
It's in the kitchen.
It's in the kitchen. Oh, I'm sorry. It's in the kitchen.
I was getting ready to move. My whole house was packed. You can call the sheriffs. They wouldn't write me a statement. He had somebody living in the house for a week.
Would you?
Damaging it. Cleaning it. Cleaning
it? No, they were in there destroying it. And yeah, these pictures.
And loading a dumpster.
After
Garbage.
He had me taken out. I have the order of them putting me back in the house after he legally evicted me. The stay order.
Okay, so you were evicted on what date?
The sheriffs removed me October 20th.
October 20th. And October 25th, you moved back in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what you're suggesting is that this is the way the house was?
Yes, ma'am.
And you stayed there until when?
I moved October 31st.
So you stayed there for 6 days?
I had to clean my stuff up.
Just a second. You stayed there for 6 days. Is this what you're telling me?
I did. I had to clean all my stuff back up. He went through everything I owned.
Did you?
Dump boxes. I have a sheriff's...
It's not true,
I have
Your Honor.
reports.
Do you have a sheriff's report? I'd like to read it.
Okay. These are both reports that I have, that the front door was broken when I moved in. And, well, that's some of the damage he's claiming. And then the second one's when I made the report.
Do you have pictures of the house now?
I believe they're up there, Your Honor.
We're not talking about damage. You're talking about what the house looks like today.
Today, I can't go by the house because I got chased off by... He ran me down the road. This is a real story. He took off after me in his truck, and he ran me off the road.
Who did?
And he's got a disorderly conduct for it. It was one of her guys that she had living there. He ran after me down the road. It's in the police reports.
And?
And he almost smashed me into a telephone pole.
And?
The police responded.
You took pictures of the house. You were in the house. So now I want to see what the house looks like today, because you were in the house and you started to do some work on the house. Don't look at me confused. You started to do some looks like today.
I can't get in the house today because.
Well, how did you do the work on the house, sir, in the month of November?
Well, no, I did it while she was out between the 16th and the 20th.
What did you do?
Basically started to remodel the bathroom.
So you started to do some demolition work in the bathroom?
Yeah.
And what did you do to do the demolition work in the bathroom?
Pulled some tile out.
What else did you do?
We also cleaned up the yard.
What else?
We started to clean up the whole inside of the house.
What else? What did you do with our boxes?
Boxes, nothing.
Well, what'd you do with them? They had to do something with them. You've evicted her.
Stored stuff inside the garage, yeah, but we didn't.
Stored stuff inside the garage. In the boxes?
No.
Your case is dismissed. How's that?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Listen, you know why I dismissed your case? Because you're slippery. Because I said to you, show me the abatement order that had to do with her cars. And you said, they're right there. They're right in front of you.
This is right there.
Well, show me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Gary Ledeen claims former tenant Tammy Warburg caused severe damage to his rental home.
Yeah, I'm going to vehicles that were there that he had towed off the property.
It was 3 vehicles.
2 motorcycles?
2 motorcycles and a car.
Police officers found you a bit cagey, sir. I find you the same. I mean, I read the report. The police officer who you told you had received notification from the town that you were going to be fined if those vehicles were not removed from the premises. Police officer asked to see those. You couldn't produce them for the police officer. I know that you have them here to show me. I'd like to see them.
I gave them to you.
Can you find them for me, please?
You're referring to the abatement order?
I'm just talking about the notice from the town that you had to remove these two
correct.
vehicles.
It's in the Brooklyn Park abatement order there. You'll find it. It's of the 18th. I had to have vehicles and such out of the yard.
18th of?
October.
Okay. Okay, so you received this order that says that there were bags of garbage on the ground under the Yukon and debris from the driveway. A Yukon, I mean, these are all,
They're all the
these
same
are all
vehicle.
the same, sir. And comply by May 31st, 2016. The following vehicles were observed. A GMC of the cars?
No, that's not one of my vehicles that were towed.
A Chevy Tahoe?
Not one of the vehicles that were towed.
Whose vehicles were these?
One belonged to Philip and one belonged to...
Who's Philip?
Philip was my daughter's boyfriend, the one that was in the police reports. But that's not the vehicles that were towed.
I don't care. It sounds like there were a lot of junk in this.
Them are both different times. Here's the abatement that he's talking about. In the one vehicle that was there, mine were all operable vehicles, and he had them towed.
All I'm looking here is the GMC Yukon with Minnesota plates. That's not yours.
No.
A Chevy Tahoe,
No.
which is not what you're complaining about. You want to find the abatement order for the two motorcycles in her car? Go look for it and find it.
I was told, I was
I don't care what you were told. What do you give me an abatement order that had nothing to do with the cars that she's talking about?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, okay, listen, you know why I dismissed your case? Because you're slippery. Because I said to you, show me the abatement order that had to do with her car.
Sure.
Well, show me. No, show me. Those are not the two motorcycles in the car. That has nothing to do with two motorcycles in the car, not that I read.
Earlier there's one on jack stands.
Just a second. That's not her car. That's why your case was dismissed, because you're slippery. Show me the abatement order on the two motorcycles and her car. Show it to me. You couldn't show it to the police. Show it to me. You said you had it. Judgment on the counterclaim for the defendant, because you had our cars towed. You had no reason to do that. The amount of $5,000. Your claim's dismissed. We're done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She ruined my place and she got away with it. Now she's getting paid to do it.
He's a snake in the grass. The judge saw through him.
I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
He's trying to do an insurance. I had the paperwork. I was ready to show it.
I feel upset, yeah.
Because he got me out, he didn't think I'd get back in. And I'm smarter than he is, and I did.
Do a background check.
Yeah, just be careful who you rent from.
A crumbling fence divides neighbors.
What do you keep these old tires in the backyard for?
It was just supportive.
You can't lean anything against his fence.
Attitude next door
He doesn't want to be neighborly.
pushed him over the edge.
They said that they would pay for the maintenance of the fence, and they never did.
This fence doesn't need maintaining. It needs demolition.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Michael Jackson is suing his neighbors, Ken and Jill Kaufman, for the cost of a fence and tree trimming.
Order. All rise. It's case number 349 on the calendar in the matter of Jackson versus Kaufman.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
You two were neighbors.
Yes, ma'am.
You have actually a common yard.
Yes, ma'am.
And there is a fence separating the two houses. From what I gather, the fence is actually on your property. And your complaint is that the Kaufmans had a whole bunch of junk that they piled up that was leaning against the fence.
Yes, ma'am.
And as a result of that and a tree that's on their property, the fence went over. And you approached the Kaufmans and said, listen, let's split the fence, even though I asked you to remove this junk so it wouldn't keel over, and you didn't. And the Kaufmans, we're not splitting the cost of the fence. Not very neighborly, but certainly within his prerogative. The next thing you did was you trimmed a tree that belongs to him.
Yes, ma'am.
A tree that was coming over on your property.
Yes, ma'am.
Something that is your right to do. You have a right to trim the tree that is encroaching on your property. He doesn't have to pay for it, because that's another part of your lawsuit. Because he says, you trimmed it, good for you. I'm not complaining that you trimmed it, but I'm not going to pay for your trimming it because I didn't do it. So the only thing that's left here is this fence business. So now you have to show me photographs, because you would acknowledge, Mr. and Mrs. Kaufman, that if whatever you had put on your side of the fence caused the fence to go over, it would be your responsibility to reestablish the fence.
Yes.
You understand that?
Yes.
Now, I don't know whether he can establish that. If he can't establish that, he has no case, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see the pictures. Bert, did I make that clear to you? I just want to make sure that I made it clear to you.
Crystal.
Crystal, good. What do you keep these old tires in the backyard for?
I don't know what pictures you're looking at.
Sure, that's it, please.
That's against our gate.
That's against my gate on my front gate. That's to hold it in because I had two larger dogs.
Well, that's actually in
just
the
a
front.
second.
I'm
I
sorry.
can't listen to both of you. Is that not the fence he's talking about?
This is my fence. This is on my property.
Ma'am.
The fence that he's talking about in this picture is on the right side picture here.
Okay. You're talking about this wood fence?
Yes, ma'am. What, if I may, those tires and stuff were leaning against the fence, and that's a new fence there now. He put those tires, that's on his side of the fence.
I understand it's on his side of the fence, but is that your fence?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I would like you to show me with a circle, here are your pictures back, of Kaufman's property leaning up against your fence. The Kaufman's property touching your fence. Make a circle.
This was all leaning against the fence. It was moved, I pushed it over there.
I just want to see before the fence
Yes.
went down.
Yes. That's the old fence, and that's the stuff leaning against there.
What?
The section, or what I've seen in the picture, he had a pile of wood on his side before that, and it had gone over. I had put that up, but the part in the fence that he attempted to repair, as he states in it, is 50 feet past that. And I'm saying the part that he's talking about here on the property, it's here.
I just want to see photographs of your stuff leaning against his fence.
Okay.
You can't lean anything against his fence.
It was to support it.
I don't.
Okay.
You can't lean anything against his fence.
Okay.
Period. I can't see that at all.
That's a wine barrel, Your Honor, that he had leaning against there. There was actually two of them.
Oh, I'm just trying to figure out what that was. It's a rain barrel. Did this portion of the fence go down?
Yes, it did. But there was two wine barrels, Your Honor. And the first, that's the second one there. It fell against it as well, but they both did.
I want to see this portion of the fence where this property that can't be leaning against your part, because he says it's your fence. So he can't lean anything against your fence. You have to show that that caused damage. So that's what I want to see.
That did, Your Honor. Yes.
Well, I know you're telling me that, but I have to see that here. You're following me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, good. What's that wine barrel doing there anyway, sir, just for my own information?
That section of the fence is falling to the east on our side, and which doesn't have pictures. We had put several boards up to try to support this.
How long, Mr. Jackson, have you been living in that house?
January of '92, Your Honor.
And when you bought the house, was the fence there?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
As it is shown in this picture?
Yes, ma'am, the original fence.
It's time for a new fence.
Your Honor?
That old wood fence was going to come down at one point or another. So this is your problem, Mr. Jackson. You would like the Kaufmans to be neighborly and say, listen, this fence is 25 years old. It is an eyesore. It's old. It's rickety. Let's do the right thing as neighbors, because you've been living there also for a very long time. We'll split the cost of a fence with you.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you would like. He doesn't want to be neighborly. Do you understand?
Yes.
So if you want to build a fence, build it on your property and pay for it. I assume that you don't want anything to do with them, so you want to have something separating
Yes,
the
ma'am.
two homes. So do it. He
Ma'am.
doesn't have to share the cost with
Right,
you, sir.
but ma'am,
This is not a new fence. I can go huff and puff and blow your house down. The fence is 25 years old. You had junk there. He has junk there.
Ma'am, I have no junk there at all, but I do have a lot. I retained an attorney 6 years ago, and the attorney put them on notice. They said, I have their letter, that they would pay for half the maintaining the fence.
This fence?
And at that time, my son and I maintained our portion of it. We assumed that the Kaufmans would take care of theirs. They never did, hence it blew down. And it was that section that blew down.
What?
We did send a response letter to him, and he never communicated further.
Ms. Kaufman, I think that you and your husband are making a big mistake. I want you to understand that. There's so much tragedy going on in the world, and there's so much acrimony going on in the world. The place that you should feel as if it's a safe haven is in your home. So you've been living as neighbors for over 2 decades. Why in the world, over something that is relatively inexpensive, would you not want to be good neighbors and say, I have a home, and if my neighbor comes to me and say, you know what, this fell down, and it would be nice if we got together and put up some new trees. Will you go half with us? I say, sure.
Your Honor,
You think I'm going to diminish the quality of my life by having a neighbor next door who I have to put my eyes down when I drive into the driveway, I don't smile good morning? You're ridiculous. However, he has no case. If the fence is on his property, if he wants to maintain it, he has to pay for it. What?
May I explain a little bit of history on why we're not really see eye to eye with Mr. Jackson?
No, what you have to do is you have to, you know what? You know his first name?
Yes.
Do you refer to each other by your first names?
We try to avoid him because of his complaints.
There you go. That's right. There you go. Over nonsense.
9 complaints with the county over ridiculous things that are not truths.
Well, let me tell you something, sir. I have to tell you, I don't know what you and your wife do, but I'm looking at this junk that's in your backyard. I don't know what the rest of your life is like, but I don't know why somebody would keep all this junk in their backyard. I don't know why.
That was just on one part of the side yard.
Just a second. I don't care if it... listen, I grew up with a place for everything and everything in its place, and if something is trash and you're ready to throw it out, you put it on the curb and you call sanitation. You don't put it in your backyard. You clearly think, oh, we're going to put this in the backyard. It'll look nice. This air conditioner is going to look nice in the backyard. This old barrel is going to look nice in the backyard. Well, if that's the way you want to live, fine. What I'm suggesting to you is if you try to avoid him, maybe there's a reason. And maybe you should just say, you know, enough is enough. And a first wonderful starting place would be, say, I'll split the cost of a fence with you. You have no case against them. Goodbye. We're done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Are you excused? You may step out.
He has been in pain for 24 years.
I just hope that we can become neighbors.
You know, when you've been harassed and poked at with complaints with county
and bury the hatchet.
Sort of have to draw a line in the sand and don't take it anymore.
I plan on trying to get along with the Kaufmans as well as I can.
I wish we could have gotten along with him.
I have no ill feelings towards anybody.
But I'm not about to be his friend.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of mayor versus mayor, step forward.
Sarah Mayer is suing her sister, Nada Mayer, for the cost to repair her car. Nada is countersuing for the return of car payments and insurance premiums.
You two ladies are sisters, and you have a claim and a counterclaim, each one for $5,000. This is over a car accident that allegedly you had with your sister's car. I want to tell you both that I've read your sworn depositions, and I don't believe either one of you. Let's start out with that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Let me understand this. So when you got the car, you weren't working?
No. I was full-time working with the DOD.
And how much were you earning? Come on. You see, it's not going to get easier.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sarah Mayer is suing her sister, Nada Mayer, for the for the return of car payments and insurance premiums.
So I want you to both take a deep breath. You can have a conversation with each other, but if you're going to give me the same drivel that you gave me in your sworn complaints, this case is going to be over in 3 seconds. Do we understand each other? Now, we've traveled you here at some great expense, so I hope you enjoyed your little time in California. Now, who's going to tell me what happened with the car? Fine.
So
don't give me the CRAPQUE that you have in your answer. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were smart enough to keep your mouth shut.
I'll let her talk first.
No, you were smart enough to keep your mouth shut. Go ahead.
So, Your Honor, in 2014, I did have a very bad credit, and my sister offered to help to co-sign for me and go get the car under her name. And I
didn't co-sign. It's under my name.
Listen to me.
Sorry.
Listen to me. I don't believe the fact that you lent her a car 2 years ago, and then you took away permission to drive the car, and then she had an accident, and it was your car, and so I should give you $5,000. That's your story. Tell it to me again. I just told it to you in 10 seconds. I don't believe it. What do you do for a living?
I'm a teacher.
You're a teacher. And how much do you earn?
When I got the car, I wasn't a teacher. I just started working as a teacher.
So let me understand this. So when you got the car, you weren't working?
No. I was full-time working with the DOD.
And how much were you earning? Come on. You see, it's not going to get easier.
70 a year.
70,000 a year. And you already had a car. So then you bought another car. Tell me why you bought 2 cars.
Your Honor, I was gonna get rid of the Ford Focus.
No. Tell me why you bought 2 cars. You made $70,000. According to you, you made $70,000 a year.
Right.
And you had a need, 1 person for 2 cars.
Your Honor, the Focus is salvaged. It doesn't work properly. I was going to get rid of it, right? She has a kid. She begged me to borrow the car because she cannot go to work.
That's not true, Your Honor.
She begged me to borrow the car.
That is not true.
Kindness of my heart, I let you take the car.
If I do, why do I have payment on my credit card?
Just a second. I don't believe it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
You live there? You don't like living there?
I'm great, but I kept being talked into staying longer.
Miss Walker, I don't care.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sarah Mayer is suing her sister, Nada Mayer, for the cost to repair her car. Nada is countersuing for the return of car payments and insurance premiums.
Let me explain something to you. This is all about your insurance. Somebody didn't have insurance, and you had an accident, right? And you had an accident, and you say it was your car.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, and you made the payments on the car.
Yes.
How old are you?
I am 28.
Then you should have had insurance. That's what you should have had.
Well, she lied to me, Your Honor. She said, "Oh, I am paying for the car. That's why I was depositing money in her account."
Listen to me very carefully. Your case is dismissed, and your counterclaim's dismissed. Now, if you think that you can do better, where do you come from?
D.C.
I'm going to dismiss your case without prejudice. You go try to find somebody else to.
Your Honor, I have
done.
the paper.
We're finished.
Your Honor, I have the paper here.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Because she's irresponsible. She's an irresponsible adult.
I did get in a car accident, but the fact that
she went and got a new car for herself, and now I'm stuck with the pin. I am done talking to her. I'm going to disown her.
And I will continue not, so is my whole family.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Walker versus Zollicoffer. Step forward.
Christina Walker is suing her former landlord, Jerry Zola Coffer, for the return of her security deposit and punitive damages. Jerry is countersuing for rent, property damage, and storage fees.
Miss Walker, you rented a room from the defendant. You lived there for a while, you moved out, and she kept your security deposit.
Yes, ma'am.
You want your security deposit back, which is how much? How much did you give her in security deposit?
$200.
And you're suing her for $5,000
Yes.
because you want mental anguish, punitive damages, etc. But she kept your security deposit.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have a counterclaim for unpaid rent.
That's
what
correct.
rent didn't she pay?
She did not pay for the month of June.
June.
That's correct.
When did you move out?
June 20th.
Did you pay the month of June?
No.
Well, then you owe her for June.
Yes, and I have no problem with that.
Great. How much was your rent?
$650.
So you owe her $650. And your security deposit was $200.
Yes.
So that means you only owe her $450.
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't understand this lawsuit.
During my stay there,
I don't care. You live there, you don't like living there anymore, you move out.
And that was my plan the whole entire time.
Great.
But I kept being talked into staying longer.
Miss Walker, I don't care.
That's
Courts
fine.
don't care. You wanted your security deposit back. Well, you're entitled to your security deposit back unless there were damages to the apartment. Did you leave the apartment damaged?
No, I actually cleaned up the place to move into it.
I don't care.
No, I
talking
did
about
not.
when you
There
left.
were already damages there. I helped prepare the house.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Did you do a walkthrough with Miss Walker when she left?
I did not have the opportunity to, Your Honor. She took her things out, put the keys on the counter. Here are your keys. You can keep that security deposit. I left stuff in your yard. I'll have to come back and get it. The food that I left, do whatever you want with it.
And you kept her security deposit because she left the place a mess and she left things in the house? Do you have photographs for me?
Yes.
I'd like to see them.
Okay.
Because you may not be entitled to your security deposit back, which means you'll owe her the entire...
There was an issue with the refrigerator that broke. I had to throw out over $300 and something worth of food that day because I could not be there for them to put it in the refrigerator.
I have pictures of the food that was left.
I don't care about the food.
Okay.
You throw away the food. What else?
And I have a picture of the security door that I had to replace and items that she left in the yard.
The security door was because she took out a door because she said there was something wrong with the frame. Is that...
Not to my knowledge. There was nothing wrong with the frame.
Fine. She owes you $450. Can you give her back a security deposit? I'm taking off $200 from the $650 in rent she didn't pay. Are we finished? Good. Judgment on the counterclaim for $450. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Well, the defendant basically played games.
I had a tenant, gave me notice that she would be moving.
She, in turn, tried to reverse things when I asked for certain things that were going on.
Did not pay her rent.
The gate that was broken, that gate was rotted out of the wood.
When I asked for the rent, her response was to start bringing up issues that I had no idea about.
I am in a homeless shelter.
Something lined up.
Make sure that the landlord gives you the lease before you move in.
I feel badly for her, but, you know, we all have to pay our bills.
Her hair salon was open for business.
How many months' rent did you pay?
I don't owe him anything.
No, that's not what I asked you. That's why we're here.
But what got cut was her landlord's rent.
The only payments I did not pay this man was June, July, and August.
When you started out with me, you said, I don't owe him any rent.
I don't got time for this get-rich-quick scheme he got going on.
Don't cop an attitude.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Salon owner John Thorpe is suing stylist LaTanya Rice for unpaid rent and stolen furniture.
Order. All rise. It's case number 356 on the calendar in the matter of Thorpe versus Rice.
Thank you, Bert.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Thorpe, you own a building, and in that building there is a beauty salon.
Yes, ma'am.
And you rented that beauty salon to Miss Rice. Moved out of the salon. She moved out owing you rent, and in addition, she took some furniture that belonged to you, some chairs.
Salon furniture.
Salon furniture. I'm not exactly sure what her defense is with regard to the rent, but with regard to the furniture, it is Miss Rice's position that you told her that it was old furniture and that if she refurbished it, if she wanted to keep it, she could. She did, in fact, have the chairs reupholstered and cleaned them all up, and she took them with her when she left. That's your defense. Okay. When did you move in, Miss Rice?
I signed the lease in August.
Of what year?
2015.
And what was your rent monthly?
It started out at $525, and that's because we broke the security deposit up via 7 months. And then after the 7 months, then the rent dropped to $450.
How long did you stay there?
About a year.
When did you move out?
August.
Of 2016?
Yes, ma'am.
And how many months' rent did you pay?
I don't owe him anything.
No, that's not what I asked you. That's why we're here. So don't cop an attitude.
I don't have an attitude with you.
Don't cop an attitude. I asked you a question. I said, how many months' rent did you pay him?
I paid him, I think, all his rent.
I don't know what you think, because we'll go through each month. You signed the lease in August. Was the lease supposed to start in September? Or August? Or October? When was the lease?
Yes, ma'am. I have the lease right here. I also have a schedule of the payments that she made to me as well.
Started September 1st. I'm going to show this to you, Miss Rice, because this is what Mr. Thorpe says that you paid him and the months that you paid him.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and this starts in August 28th, 2015. He says on August 28th, 2015, you paid him $525.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't have any deposits for October, November. You do have one in December for $525, so you didn't pay those 2 months. Do you have any proof that you paid those 2 months?
No, but when we signed the lease in August, the 28th, that was just early for September.
I got it.
And then, according to text messages, I did give him the rent for October because Mr. John is one of them type of people. He keep you informed
Well, just a
all
second.
the
Well,
way
just
through.
just show me that you gave him rent in October.
I don't have a receipt.
Show me the text message.
He should have had a deposit. It says the money was deposited into your account. Thanks.
Just a second. That's your message to him.
Yes, I told.
Where's his message to you? Because he's asking for his money on the 9th. You say to him, I deposited the money.
Yes.
Where does he say, oh, fine, I got it?
He never responds
Then
like
what
that.
do you have to do, madam? The fact that you say, I deposited the money, even though it was 9 days late, I deposited the money in your bank. Show me an acknowledgement or show me something from your bank. I don't need a receipt. You have a bank.
No, I didn't have a bank account at that time.
How did you deposit the money in his bank?
Because I
How
had his
did you-
account. I had his account number.
And then you get a receipt.
And then I got
Just
a receipt.
a second. Then you
but
get...
then in the process of mismanagement, I lost the receipt.
No, that's
but
too,
I always
that's too
send a
bad.
text message to him and let him know when I deposited the money.
I don't care. I mean, your text message, because
It's
he's
fine.
asking you where my rent is, and you say, I dropped it in the mail.
No, I didn't.
And then I
drop it
lost
in
my
the mail.
receipt. Okay, October, November, you don't have. December, he says you paid $525. The next time he got a partial payment of $200, January 20th. Then he got another partial payment of $75 on February 1st. However, on February 5th, he got $800.
Yes.
So on February, $400. So I'm going to take October off because she paid twice in February, right? But she didn't pay in January, the full January. So she owes $325 for January, $525 for November. And then she didn't pay anything in March, but on April 8th, she paid $475. So nothing in March. You have any proof that you paid in March? No. By March, was your rent $450 or was it still?
Because I paid in March.
No, you didn't pay in March. You didn't pay
Yes,
in March.
like right here.
Well, show me where he acknowledges that you paid in March. The fact that you say you paid in March, checks in the mail, doesn't mean he got it. Just tell me.
It wasn't in the mail. Like,
No,
I paid him $400 on the 24th of February. That was March payment. That was for March. I paid him up.
No,
I paid him ahead of time because it was income tax time. Because John is one of them type of...
Listen to me.
I don't owe him anything.
You owed him money from January.
I don't owe him money from January.
Yeah, you did.
No, I don't, because the $800 in February covered January and February.
And
That's
what about
where
March?
it came from.
Just a second. You just told me.
And then the other payment, the $400, covered March. That's how the payment got back down to $475 $475, $450, according to his own text messages.
Just a second.
I don't got time for this get-rich-quick scheme he got going on.
Your Honor, may I speak?
Not necessary. She's got it down pat. She owes you $2,200 in rent. Now, let's talk about the furniture. Who put in that furniture in the salon?
We own that furniture.
That's not
we
what
placed it there.
Just a second. Who put in the furniture in the salon? I'm going to ask you a string of questions. Who purchased the furniture and put it in the salon?
Her mother.
Who's her?
My wife, my lovely wife.
Now, was she in the beauty supply business?
Can I? My wife or?
No, her mother.
No.
Well, you want to tell me how it came about that her mother put furniture in a beauty parlor?
She owned it. She rented it to tenants, and that was a part of...
Whose building is it?
It's ours now.
Did her mother pass away?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's make it much easier. You inherited...
Yes, ma'am.
...this furniture, so you did not purchase it. You inherited it.
Yes, ma'am.
When you inherited the building.
Yes, ma'am.
So you did not purchase it. That's
No,
the
ma'am.
answer. You
No,
didn't.
ma'am.
You
No,
did
ma'am.
not purchase it. And you are not in the beauty parlor business. Just answer my question. You're not in the beauty parlor
I'm
business.
not, ma'am.
And neither is your wife.
Correct.
How long ago did you inherit the building?
If I'm staying correct, it was 2009, 2008.
When did you inherit the building?
2009.
And your mother's? Okay. She owned the building. She put the furniture in there so that she could rent the place as a salon.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Stand up, because you have the facts and he doesn't. He's going to make it up as they go along. When did she outfit that store as a salon? In what year?
The year for that furniture was 2002. She has owned that building since...
I just want to know,
Okay.
2002.
Okay.
Now we have a jumping off spot.
Okay.
So this furniture that you want me to award you money for, that you never purchased, was purchased sometime on or before 2002, correct?
That's correct.
And for this furniture, you want $1,350 for 3 salon chairs, estimated value $750. 2 shampoo chairs, $300. 1 dryer with a hood, $300. And 1 large mirror. Okay. So that you're not getting. But you're getting the $2,200 in rent.
But that was the cost to replace.
I got a
Just a
receipt
second.
for the rent.
I don't care.
I understand.
Perfect.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The only payments I did not pay this man was June, July, and August.
Just a second. In the beginning, you said, I don't owe him any rent. Now you say, well, I do owe him June, July, and August.
Of course.
What clothing items do you allege that she took from you?
Boots, blue jeans.
Did you take his boots and blue jeans?
I might have took a few items from him, but I put them in a bag and I gave them back to him.
What else? I mean, I don't know what's wrong with you. This is nonsense.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Salon owner John Thorpe says stylist LaTanya Rice owes for rent and stolen property.
Okay, what?
I have a receipt for April rent. And like I said, according to his own text messages, I paid him up. He says it in here. The only 3 months he never received was June, July, and August.
Just to show me.
He says it's been 3 months now and no rent.
Just a minute. It's been... Oh, that doesn't mean you only own for June, July, and
But it
August.
says- he
Just
says
a
it.
second. I want to see what it says, because if what it says, I haven't heard from you with anything with regard to rent.
Oh, and you can...
What he's saying to you in these series of text messages, I haven't heard anything from you about rent.
You didn't give me a chance.
No. I didn't give you a chance.
No,
I said just show me receipts.
But even he gave you a printout of his supposedly payments.
He's got this payment here. It's listed here. April 8th, $475. It's listed here as a payment he received from you.
Yeah, but he should be able to... You know what? Like I said, I paid him. The only payments I did not pay this man was June, July, and August.
Just a second.
That's it.
Hey, just a second. So, in the beginning, when you started out with me, you said, I don't owe him any rent. Now you say, Well, I do owe him June, July, and August.
According to his own text
according
messages.
to you. No, according to you.
I'm going by the text messages.
$2,200, judgment for the plaintiff.
That's
We're
fine.
done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He got this get-rich-quick scheme going on both of y'all two petty selves.
I really believe that my husband should have put her out a long time ago.
I'm done.
I will listen to my wife more.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Moore versus White Lee. Step forward.
Isaiah Moore is suing his cousin, April White Lee, for unpaid rent and stolen property.
Mr. Moore, the defendant is your cousin.
Correct.
And your complaint alleges the following. You say that there came a time when she and her two children were having some difficulties, housing difficulties, and you allowed them to move in with you.
Correct.
When was that?
A little over 2015.
And when did she leave?
April of this year, 2016.
So she stayed with you quite a while.
She did.
And from the time she moved in with her two children, did she pay you the $200 rent that you agreed that she would pay?
No, she did not.
Did she pay you at all?
No, she did not.
So she lived with you from January of 2015 to April 2016 and didn't pay you any rent?
That's correct.
And how much rent was she supposed to pay you?
Originally, we had set up a payment plan for her to pay, for us to go Dutch every other month. I pay January, she paid February. I pay March, she paid April.
How much was the rent?
Originally $775 a month.
You were asking for 3 months unpaid rent, but she lived with you, according to you, for over a year and never paid
Her
any
children
rent.
didn't stay with her at first.
What difference does that make?
It made the difference of the fact that I had to make a lot of sacrifices. Financially at work, I had to make a lot of sacrifices as far as family member and transportation.
I see. I'm not crazy about this case at all. Do you understand?
What do you mean?
If you let her live with you for 13 or 14 or 15 months,
Yeah.
and she didn't pay you any rent, and you had an agreement for $200 worth of rent,
right,
then you forgave the rent. I don't want to hear anything about rent. Rent is gone. Now, next we're going to talk about when she moved out, it is your claim that she took property that didn't belong to her.
Correct.
Okay. Well, she says that she did laundry, that the laundry all got messed up, and she returned the items of yours that got mixed up with her laundry. After she moved out, did she ever return any items to you?
That's not correct at all.
Just a second. What clothing items do you allege that she took from you?
Boots, blue jeans.
Just as did you take his boots and blue jeans?
I never took the boots, but when I washed and did laundry before I left, I might have took a few items from him, but I put them in a bag and I gave them back to him. He received that stuff back, so I don't...
Next! What else? I mean, I don't know what's wrong with you. This is nonsense.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Do you have her keys?
Yes, I have them here, Your Honor.
Would you give her the keys? Sure.
How do I know that she didn't make a copy? I have
don't
text
listen.
messages.
Listen to me. I don't know and I don't care.
Okay, so if my RV comes up stolen, what do I do?
Cry.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Isaiah Moore is suing his cousin, April White Lee, for unpaid rent and stolen property.
What else do you think that she took from you?
She took rims that I paid for individually, $110 for each rim. And I put them in her vehicle. They were on my car. I come home from work one day, they're not in her car. She doesn't have any idea where they are. She admitted to it.
Neither do I. Well, she admitted to what?
I've got some evidence here, Your Honor.
You mean that she stole the stuff
That
of yours?
she either stole, sold, threw out, or gave them away to her friends.
Well,
that's a whole nother story. She's got a few friends that she likes them.
When did you put the rims in her car? What month and year?
The month that she put the rims in there was...
Not she put them in. You put them in. You say you bought the rims and put them in her car.
2015.
I'm not interested in 2015. We're done here. Thank you very much. This case is over.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm happy everything's over.
Judge Judy just told it all.
I love my cousin.
She didn't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm glad it's over.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Swinner versus Pate. Step forward.
Heather Swenor is suing her former friend, Elizabeth Pate, for an unpaid loan to fix up an RV. Elizabeth is countersuing for lock-changing fees, emotional distress, and defamation.
Ms. Swenor, what do you do for a living?
I'm a preschool teacher.
You met the defendant, according to what I read, sometime in March of this year.
Yes.
And she was at that time having some financial difficulty. According to you, you loaned her some money in order to renovate an RV that she could live in.
It was an RV.
And how much did you loan her at that time?
$1,542, Your Honor.
For specifically what things?
For her rent, for the RV place, the registration on the RV, batteries to get it up and moving.
Do you have all of those receipts?
I have all the receipts right here,
I'd
Your
like
Honor.
to take a look at them. This is for coffee? Starbucks?
That was from when we went to Starbucks after we left.
I don't do that.
Okay.
Rainbow Market, $22?
Yeah, that was for cigarettes and things for her grandmother.
I don't do that either. In-N-Out Burger? So far I have batteries for the...
Okay.
This is for gas.
Yeah, for the RV to get it to her grandmother's house where she parked it until she could get into an RV place.
On what date?
That was June 26th, I believe.
June 23rd, close enough. AutoZone, red lens repair tape. What is
that? That was for the lens tape for the back of the lens needed to be repaired on the back so she could drive it.
Did you use this? Okay, fine. Tuna fish I'm not getting involved with. This is the Dollar General. Okay. I have car battery, $128, and then I have $11, $5. Now, how much did she give you back?
She gave me $100 in June. She gave me $100 in August, and she gave me $40 in July.
How much did you give her?
I gave her a total of $350.
$350 is about what she says she got from you. All right, you have a stupid counterclaim. You will have 30 seconds to tell me what it's about.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Go ahead.
My counterclaim begins with she has a set of keys to my RV, and because she has those keys and she has threatened to have my RV taken from me, I need all new locks for it.
It's not happening. Do you have her keys?
Yes, I have them here, Your Honor.
Would you give her the keys? Sure.
How do I know that she didn't make a copy? I have text messages.
Listen to me. I don't know and I don't care.
Okay, but she has...
Don't know, don't care. There
I
are
have
the keys.
text messages.
Don't know, don't care.
I have
there are
text
the keys.
messages, Your Honor.
Don't know, don't care. There are the keys.
Okay, so if my RV comes up stolen, what do I do?
Cry. Next.
Okay, and I have other evidence in regards to my count. I suffer from PTSD and because of an accident, and I have text messages on my phone from her in regards to that.
So
that is why I'm countersuing.
Your counterclaim's dismissed. You've been paid. We're done.
Please excuse me. Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm very blessed by what she done for me.
I helped her when she was homeless, living on the side of her grandmother's house.
It ruined a good friendship because, you know, we were very supportive of one another.
No more free rides. I'm not helping anybody else out.
Did you witness Miss Haygood's dog getting bitten?
I don't believe her dog got bitten.
A dog park dilemma.
You say his dog bit yours. He said that they ran into each other.
My dog T-boned the side of her dog. There are sharp objects on her collar, absolutely.
And this owner says she's crying wolf.
My original reaction to it is I was going to take some responsibility.
And then what changed your mind?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Linda Haygood is suing John Yoakum for vet bills. Park.
Order. All rise. It's case number 338 on the calendar, the matter of Haygood versus Yoakum.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Miss Haygood, it is your claim that the defendant's dog bit your dog in a dog park.
Yes.
All the dogs were off leash.
Yes.
When did this happen?
On August 28th, a Sunday early morning.
How long have you been taking your dog to the dog park?
About 3.5 years daily.
What kind of dog do you have?
I have a greyhound.
He, she?
She.
How much does she weigh?
About 65.
And you, Mr. Yoakum, what kind of dogs do you have?
German Shepherds.
How many?
3.
And how long have you been taking them to the park?
Well, I haven't had all of them since I've been going to the dog park, but I've been going to that dog park for probably roughly the same time, 3 to 3.5 years.
How many dogs were you with on the 28th of August?
4.
You're 3, and who else is?
I have a 13-year-old white Samoyed, another dog.
So you have 4 dogs.
Correct.
And you had all 4 off-leash.
Yes.
Did you witness Miss Haygood's dog getting bitten?
I don't believe her dog got bitten.
She'll show me the vet.
Okay.
Did you witness an interaction between your dog and hers?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I want you to tell me what you observed.
Well,
right here. I read your answer, so now you tell me what the interaction was that you observed.
her dog was crossing the dog park. There was other dogs coming in the fence line, and we call it fence talk, or, you know, it's typical for the dogs to all run up to the fence. Her dog's coming across the dog park at 30-ish miles an hour. My dog had also taken off to, you know, go fence banter, and, you know,
dog?
my German Shepherd, the name is Nala of this particular dog.
How old is that dog?
Nala is probably 4 to 5 years old at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So Nala's going as well. You know, the other multiple dogs usually will get riled up when one dog takes off, which her dog went first, and it sets other dogs.
Just tell me what you observed.
What I observed was her dog veered left. There was a tree in the park as it was running to the fence, and my dog T-boned the side of her dog, not anticipating that action out of her dog.
Don't tell me what your dog anticipated or didn't anticipate.
Okay.
Just tell me what you saw.
I saw my dog.
Your dog T-boned her
the
dog
side of her
mid-sex,
dog.
the side.
Correct.
Okay, good. Now, may I see the vet reports, please? I'll take a look at the photograph also.
This.
Where's the vet's report? This is the bill. Where's the
That's a treatment plan that they gave me. It says what the different items that they're planning to do.
You mean your vet doesn't write down what their findings were?
No, they just say what procedures they're going to do.
Okay. What I'd like you to do is to show this to Mr. Yoga.
Seen it in person, yes.
And you think that that's from your dog T-boning her dog?
Absolutely.
With what?
They have sharp collars on, and just to
Just a
state.
second. Who has a sharp collar on?
Oh, my dog has dog tags on, collar. We have a chain on her, plus her collar. There are sharp objects on her collar, absolutely.
Either way, if you keep the sharp collar on her, that's your responsibility.
For an incidental of 2 dogs running into each other in a dog park?
That's if I accept what you're telling me happened. Did you call at any time, sir? Because she has her phone here.
Uh-huh.
Did you call Miss Haygood at any time
I did.
that day? Where did you get her number from?
From a woman at the dog park.
Prior to the 28th of August, had you ever called Miss Haygood before?
No.
She wasn't a friend of yours.
An acquaintance at the dog park.
But you didn't have her tell me what the purpose was for you calling her on the 28th of August.
I felt awful.
So you called up to say you felt awful, even though, according to you...
My original reaction to it is I was going to take some responsibility.
And then what changed your mind?
Well, for one, I got a letter stating that my dog had bitten her dog, and I don't believe that happened.
Okay,
a
what's
greyhound's coat is very
next?
thin.
What's next?
What's next?
I read your answer, and I read her complaint, and from what you just said to me, I don't understand it, and I'm not an expert on greyhounds, but you started to say a greyhound's skin,
Their skin is very thin. It's like
just
wet papier-mâché dog running in the
so
dog
that
park.
When she says in her complaint that what you said to her at the time was, if it wasn't a greyhound, it wouldn't have been injured.
That's a very good chance of that. Would not have been punctured, yes, or whatever you want to say. I mean, I'm not using the word dog bite. And just can I say this? If you were going to be in a car accident and you knew you were going to rear end another car or run into something, the last thing you would do was open your mouth on your steering wheel or something. I mean, if my dog's mouth was open, it's because it said, oh, I can't say the words, and it hit. I mean, it was a hard collision.
Mr. Yoakum, I have to tell you that I actually don't think, based upon what the plaintiff tells me, in the incident, you say his dog bit yours. He said that they ran into each other, right? You don't have anything else to tell me about his dog. You don't have any proof of any prior incidents with his dog. Do you have any proof with you with regard to any prior incidents with this dog from animal control or anyone else? Any authority?
No.
Well, let me tell you what my view is with regard to people who take their dogs to dog parks, unless somebody knowingly takes a vicious dog to a dog park and they have prior knowledge that their dog is that kind of vicious. That if you take your dog to a dog park and your dogs are off leash, and if there is an incident, you have to take care of the incident yourself. That's what I think. Because your dog was no more under your control than Mr. Yoakum's dog was under his control. Neither dog were under your immediate control, either by way of a leash or within 2 feet. According to both of you, they were running free. And there might be incidents. They're 2 large dogs. So if you want to prevent that, then you keep your dog on a leash and you don't take the dog to a dog park. Unless, of course, Mr. Yoakum had prior knowledge that there were prior incidents involving his dog, which would be your burden to show me. But I believe that you assume a certain amount of risk when you take your dog to a dog park, don't you?
Yes.
Yes, you do. And if you said my control, well, that's a different story. But both dogs were out of the control of their owners. So I don't think he has any responsibility. So it's not that the greyhound's skin was too thin, or maybe it was the collar, or maybe it was the dog tag, or maybe it was something else. I think that people who take their dogs, large or small, to a dog park have to recognize that sometimes dogs will be dogs. Their conduct isn't always predictable. And what might get them riled up one day wouldn't necessarily the next day. And they may get into a frenzy because there are lots of other dogs there doing lots of other things. So I don't think Mr. Yoakum actually has any responsibility to you. And I think that if you have a dog and you want that dog to be safe, you keep the dog on a leash and you walk it. And if you don't, then you assume a certain amount of risk. That's it. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
At first, you know, looking at it, I was upset. I was upset for her.
He just said that he knew his dog bit my dog.
My dog has never bit another dog in the dog park.
I think it's a joint responsibility.
I felt bad.
And if my dog did damage to somebody else's dog, I would at least share in that liability.
I don't think that my dog did anything wrong.
She's fine. That's the important stuff.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Henderson versus Roberts. Step forward.
24-year-old Carolyn Henderson is suing Stephanie Roberts for a car she leased to her.
Ms. Henderson, you were looking for somebody to take over your car lease. After graduation from college, according to you, were going abroad to teach. You had a car, couldn't afford both. Where did you advertise?
On Craigslist.
You never met Miss Roberts before?
No, I haven't.
So on what date did you make this arrangement with her to take over your lease?
On February 13th, 2015.
And how long did she have the car?
She had it for less than 10 months.
How much less than 10 months?
She had the car from February 15th, 2015 to November 22nd, 2015.
9 months. And what were you supposed to pay each month for the car?
$290 a month.
Directly to the bank or directly to the finance? To her.
Yes.
Did you pay her $290 9 times?
No.
How much money do you owe her?
None.
Well, if you had the car for 9 months and you were supposed to pay her $290.
I was paying her more than $290 about halfway through that 9 months. And I also paid her for any late fees.
Should have paid her $2,610. How much did you pay her?
I don't know the total.
How much did she pay you?
Off the top of my head.
If you don't know how much she paid, I rely on her records. How much did she pay you?
Total was in the...
How much did she pay you? She doesn't know how much she paid you. So
she paid me $290 each month.
No. Total.
I don't have the exact total. I have...
All right, I just told you.
On September...
I have no time for this. Would you give up my little calculator? 9 months, $290. She should have paid you $2,610. How much did she pay you?
So she paid me $2,610. On September 11th, I raised the payment to $440.83.
You can't raise the payment. You can't unilaterally raise a payment.
She sent me the odometer on September 3rd. And it was already 6,072 miles over her limit of 12,000 miles.
She paid you $2,610. That's what it is. You can't unilaterally change a contract unless you have that in writing from her that she agreed to it. Do you?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it. No, it says in September you made an official notice for repossession of the car. That's what you wrote in your complaint.
I did. On September 2nd, I sent her the first notice of repossession of demand to return the vehicle because she failed to provide me proof of insurance, proof of...
All right, she paid you listen. I don't care.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What do you claim was in the car when she repossessed the car? Two clothing doing in the car.
We were living in that car at one point.
And later today.
Did she say she had the money?
Yes, she did.
No, she didn't. She said, I don't have the money, but I can take out a cash advance.
So she told me it wasn't a problem.
Did she or did she not tell you that she could take out a cash advance?
Yes.
Well, that's a problem.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Carolyn Henderson says Stephanie Roberts owes for car payments and repair costs for a car she leased to her. Stephanie is countersuing for the value of her belongings.
Now, she had the car 9 months. $290 is what you agreed to. $290 you got each month for the 9 months that she had the car.
I didn't get $290 for the month of November. She never paid me for the month of November.
Just a second, just a second. You repossessed the car in November. She didn't have the car for the whole month of November.
No, she didn't. She had it until the 22nd. Her payment was due on the 12th. She was 10 days late, according...
Listen to me. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not here to discuss 10 days with you. You had a right to repossess the car because, according to her as well, she was late with payments. But you got all the money you're going to get from her for payments to the car. Now you say there was damage to the car, and because the car was so much over that would be a yes.
Yes.
And when did you buy the car?
I bought the car in January.
January of this year?
Yes.
Do you still have the car?
I do.
Good. I hope you enjoy it. You have no case. Now, next, what do you claim was in the car when she repossessed the car?
2 car seats and clothing of mine and my children's.
What was clothing doing in the car?
We were living in that car at one point.
Bye. Your case is dismissed. So the countersuit. We're done here. Thank you.
Why did you excuse? You may step out.
I think that she's just unhappy.
I repossessed it.
Herself. With her decision.
I didn't until she told me the address of where it was.
I don't think we even needed to be here.
Which it was in front of a homeless shelter.
She came and took it without notice.
Drove it off?
I will never do it again.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Jolly versus Frazier. Step forward.
Jessica Jolly is suing her former friend, Jennifer Frazier, for an unpaid loan and lost wages.
Miss Jolly, you and Miss Frazier were friends.
No, ma'am. She's my brother's cousin.
But you know her, so
yes.
You were friendly. You're not related by blood. You were friendly with her.
Yes.
And she had some financial issues that she approached you about when?
On August 8th, 2016.
What were your financial issues? Do you work?
I do not. I am a stay-at-home mom.
Who supports you?
I have my son's disability and child support.
How old are your children?
12, 10, and 4.
Well, your son's disability is for your son.
Yes, I got laid off work because I was having heart problems. So I didn't go back to work, and I stayed home with him.
When?
I was working in January for a few months, and then they laid me off.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have you been recently hospitalized for any mental disease or defect?
No, ma'am.
Well, something happened in the last couple of months that suggests that she believes that you're supposed to pay her back.
She told me it was a gift.
She's lying, Your Honor.
Put your hand down. Don't need you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jessica Jolly says former friend Jennifer Frazier owes for a loan and for causing her to miss work.
So you needed money for a utility bill, otherwise your utilities were going to get cut off?
No, it was for a deposit, so I was moving and I needed it turned on.
Where were you moving to?
I moved out of my old house and got my own house.
That you rent?
Yes.
When you asked Miss Jolly for this money, what did you tell her?
That I needed it to pay off one of my bills.
Did you tell her what bill?
I did not. I just told her I needed financial help.
No, that's not. You didn't use it. Doesn't make a lot of money, so you would have to have told her that you needed money, like you just told me, to put down in a deposit for your utility bill.
Yes, Your Honor.
And what did she say to you? Did she say she had the money?
Yes, she did.
No, she didn't. She said, I don't have the money, but I can take out a cash advance.
Well, she told me it wasn't a problem.
Did she or did she not tell you that she could take out a cash advance?
Yes.
Well, that's a problem. $500 that she gave to you wasn't money that she took out of a large savings account. In order to give you the money, she had to take a cash advance out of her credit card that she has to pay back, right?
Yes.
And whose choice is it to be a stay-at-home mom? That would be yours. So why now, when somebody who is not related to you by blood shows you a nice gesture and says, listen, if you're strapped, I'll take a cash advance out and give you the money, why wouldn't you pay her back?
She told me it was a gift.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Well, if she told you it was a gift, then why do you think she's here today?
No idea.
Well, are you taking any psychotropic medication?
No, ma'am.
Have you been recently hospitalized for any mental disease or defect?
No, ma'am.
Well, something happened in the last couple of months that suggests that she believes that you're supposed to pay her back.
I'm telling you, she told me it was a gift to pay my bill off because of the kids.
She's lying, Your Honor.
I don't believe that at all. Put your hand down. Don't need you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I would listen to that argument if she said, I have money in my savings account. If you're really strapped for cash, let me make this easy for you. Are you paid by the week?
I get paid weekly, yes.
Are you an hourly worker? Or?
I'm a temporary employee. I get paid hourly.
And what's your hourly wage?
$15.78.
$15.78. That means she has to work about 33 hours. She has to work 33 hours in order to give you $500. That's what the computer says. Do you have any interest on this money?
There's a fee for the loan itself. I have the receipts from that.
You mean from the credit card company?
Yes. The
how much were the
advance has
fees?
a fee of $65.
Anything else?
I also lost wages trying to work with her to get the loan repaid.
Next time, don't lend anybody any money that you have to take out a loan for.
I lost the wages. She had to. She stood me up at least 7 times.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $565. We're done.
Your
Thank
Honor,
you.
I have
harassment at 11 o'clock at night.
Harassment?
Came to my house.
These are excused. You may step out. Quiet.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
They claim that I was harassing them. They just said that there was harassment trying to collect on a debt that she said that she would pay me back.
She would show up at 11 o'clock at night and then show up at 6 o'clock in the morning and kept blowing my stuff up.
She was more than a friend. She was a sister to me. She lived with me when I was younger.
Because she was a close family friend. She said, I understand you have kids. Here you go.
It's absolute betrayal. I can't believe she did this to me.
I think it's ridiculous because she gave it to me as a gift so I could pay my bill off, and I had extra money, so I paid on some of my friends' court issues, and I think it's crap.
I don't know how far our friendship will go as far as being repaired after this.
It's done.
I will not be borrowing her money again.
Because if she wants to be rude, guess what? It's not worth keeping.
The defendant was dating your daughter for a while.
These parents approved of the new boyfriend.
She said to you, Gage and I would like to go to Florida. Could we use your timeshare?
Right. We thought him to be a nice young man and very respectful to us.
But there
him to pay me back.
For him to pay you back for the whole thing? What happened here is they broke up and you want money from him.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Leslie Ferrone is suing her daughter's ex-boyfriend, Gage Kate, for the cost of a plane ticket to Florida.
Order. All rise. It's case number 341 on the calendar in the matter of Ferrone versus Kate. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Ms. Ferrone, the defendant was dating your daughter for a while.
Yes.
And you own a timeshare someplace?
Yes.
Where is the timeshare?
Tahiti Village in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Has your daughter ever been there?
No.
When did you purchase it?
2006.
How often do you get to use it?
We exchange it. We never really go there. We exchange it to use somewhere else usually.
Since 2006, you've never been there?
We've been there once, and the reason why we don't go there is the pool is only 3.5 feet deep. And
whatever reason.
Yeah.
Whatever reason. You bought it and don't use it much, so you try to go someplace else.
Yes.
And your daughter has never been there?
No.
And she wanted to go with having had children?
Yes.
And knowing what they do. You have other children?
No.
She's it?
She's it.
So she came to you and said, what's your first name?
Gage.
Gage and I want to go. Could we use the timeshare in Las Vegas?
Actually, we were exchanging that. They wanted to go to Florida, to Orlando.
Okay. So she said to you, Gage and I would like to go to Florida. Could we use your timeshare?
Right.
And at the time she said that to you, were you there?
Yes.
And I want you to tell me what the conversation was if you were there, talking about exchanging this timeshare because you have the timeshare.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, Your Honor, I did not know about the exchange. I originally thought that the timeshare was in Florida.
Okay.
I had actually heard about it through my ex.
Through their daughter?
Yes. And we were supposed to go to Florida. Well, originally I heard about the timeshare as like she was going herself. And then...
You mean your girlfriend?
Yes. And she had mentioned sometime in October, late October.
And how long had you been dating then?
We'd only been dating two months, Your Honor.
At the time you heard of the timeshare?
Right.
Okay. So then tell me how it came about that you got involved if she was supposed to go by herself.
Well, originally that's what I had heard, and I'd never asked to go or any of that. But after 2 months of dating her, I've been out of New England, never been on a plane before. This was my first time doing all that. But
too much information for me.
Anyway, so we were supposed to go on a timeshare, and we'd only been dating 2 months, and I jumped on the opportunity.
All right, now that's a scripted thing you wrote in your head, and I'm asking you for conversation.
Okay.
You're in the room with your girlfriend, whose first name is?
Ashley.
Ashley, and she said to her mother, we would now like to go. And what did her mother say to you? Or you say to her?
Well, I originally had said, there's no way I could afford to take a trip. I don't make that much.
The timeshare doesn't cost you anything.
There is a fee to exchange it.
Fine. What's the fee to exchange it?
$179.
It's a fee of $179. Now, you had discussed going with your daughter going even before him.
No.
Really?
No.
Did you ever exchange the timeshare and let her go use a time? Listen to me carefully. Did your daughter go to college?
Yes.
Are you telling me that there was never a time that you exchanged the Las Vegas timeshare week for another timeshare week someplace else so that your daughter could go someplace else?
No, we did not.
She never went anyplace?
No.
Since 2006? How many weeks do you have a timeshare?
I own 3 weeks at different properties. I think I need to clarify something. She didn't become our daughter till she was 19 years old. That's anything, but she's every much our daughter as anyone else's. And we do family vacations.
So she's never gone alone?
No, and that was never the intent of the trip. She would never go anyplace by herself for a week.
Okay, so right now you have a fee for the exchange of $179.
And another fee of $59 because my husband and I are the owners, and if the owner doesn't go, you have to transfer that to someone else. And they can take someone, but these are non-refundable fees.
Fine, so we have a couple of $100. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, keep going.
What happened here was...
what happened here is they broke up and you want money from him. Now, you also booked an airplane ticket for him.
And I have that
Just
here.
a second. Did you pay for that airplane ticket in points or cash?
One ticket was in points, one ticket was in cash.
Was his ticket in points or cash?
His ticket to Florida was in points, which I had to buy more points. I didn't have enough. And his ticket coming back was in cash, and I have receipts.
And what arrangement did you make, if any, that I'm going to believe with him to pay for this?
Okay. Mr. Kate was dating our daughter.
Don't start from the beginning. I'm way past the end. I'm almost there. I'm almost there.
All right.
And the fairy tale is over.
Okay.
I'm almost in fees.
Right.
For your daughter.
Right.
And her boyfriend. And you have an airplane ticket that you secured with points and a one-way for cash for Mr. Kate. All I want to know from you now is what discussion did you have with him about money?
Okay, he was at our house for dinner one evening, and he had been at our house several times over the summer for dinner, and we thought him to be a nice young man and very respectful to us. And I think that's important because I would not have offered to pay for the ticket that was non-refundable.
Would you please tell me what conversation that you had with him about paying for the ticket?
I said, if I purchase these tickets for you, I will outlay the money and the money for the timeshare, the exchange. And the intent was for him to pay me back. He agreed, and we shook hands.
For him to pay you back for the whole thing, for the timeshare exchange?
No, half and half. We split the fee. Ashley paid half. And he paid half. He was to pay half.
What I'm asking you is, your daughter is working?
My daughter was not working full-time at the time.
So what I'm asking you is whether or not she paid you back for her half.
She did.
When?
I think it was, I'm not sure of the date, but it was sometime after they broke up. So it was sometime during the month of October. She paid me $104 for...
No, four. Mm-hmm. And what about her plane ticket?
Her plane ticket, I bought her plane ticket because I got her tickets with my points.
So you got her entire ticket with points?
With my points, yes.
Just a second. You got her her entire ticket with your points?
Yes.
And she didn't pay you back any money for that. So all your daughter paid you for was $104. And how much was Mr. Cates' plane ticket?
His plane ticket on the way out was about...
Forget way out.
Total?
Way back.
Total.
No. The way back that you say you paid for his in cash.
I paid $116.60 for his return ticket.
$116.60
and $140 for his ticket. That was the value of it.
Don't give me the value. I'm not interested in the value.
Okay.
Couldn't care less.
Okay.
This whole thing was sort of nonsense to me. Did anybody use the timeshare?
No.
So what did you do with your daughter's miles? Did you put them back in the bank? Listen to me carefully.
Yes.
I do know about those things. If you cancel a ticket within a certain period of time, you can rebank the miles for a fee. Did you do that with your daughter's round-trip plane ticket?
Well, on the Southwest, but on the other flight, I could not.
Well, you know, you see that I'm unsympathetic with you. I'm really unsympathetic with this whole business.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You had to take out a loan because you had debt. You're telling her intimate things about yourself, like hemorrhoid medication, and you're telling her those intimate things about yourself because you want to go on this trip.
And later today...
Before he paid for the car so he could get the car out of impound, that's what you wrote here. You wanted him to sign the car.
Yeah, because they said if I got my license with Dean, I could pull it out.
You wanted him to trust you.
Yeah.
Why?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Leslie Ferrone says her daughter's ex-boyfriend, Gage Cate, owes for a plane ticket to Florida.
Mr. Cate, now I want you to... Fair. Nothing but fair. Did you tell the plaintiff that you would split the cost of the rebooking fee at the condo in Florida?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Did you tell her that if she laid out the money for your plane ticket, cash, for your plane ticket, that you would reimburse her?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
What did you tell her with regard to contribution supposed to be?
Well, Your Honor, I had actually taken out a loan at the time, and that's why we were discussing this trip. I took it out to get myself out of debt and consolidate my payments, and I also needed repairs done on my car. And I told them if I had anything left over, you know, I would more than likely take the trip with them.
So that you were going to pay for certain costs.
Right.
I mean, once you got there...
We hadn't discussed any of the final details, Your Honor.
I don't care if you discuss the final details. If what you said is, I'm taking out a loan...
But it wasn't for that.
I don't care what it was for. I mean, other than that, what would she be interested for, what you were making for breakfast yesterday, or what you were having for dinner? You discussed with her the fact that you were taking out a loan to consolidate certain bills, to make certain payments, and from that money, you would pay for your end of the trip, not her daughter's end of the trip, but your end of the trip. Otherwise, there's no reason for her to have the information that you're taking out a consolidation loan.
That's
just like there's no interest that she would have in whether or not you use hemorrhoid medicine. Do you understand? There's no reason for her to have that information.
Right.
I mean, but to have that information, you are saying for some reason you cannot budget yourself so that you had to take out a loan because you had debt. I mean, you're telling her all those things. You're telling her intimate things about yourself, like hemorrhoid medication, because you want to go on this trip. Okay, it's not a big deal, Miss Ferrone. $220. It's $104 and $116 for the return flight. If you could have banked your daughter's miles, you should have put it in a place where you could rebank his. $220. We're done here. Okay. Thank you.
Well, he's excused. You may step out.
I think she was fair.
This is all kind of silly. It really is. It's very petty.
I don't think I'll be buying any more plane tickets for anybody but my immediate family.
Especially from somebody who has as much money as they do.
If you're sealing the deal with the handshake, you should have integrity as a person.
Well, I'm never going on a trip again unless we've been dating for like at least a year.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lopez versus Lopez. Step forward.
Alfonso Lopez says Joey Lopez owes for a car he's sold him, as well as tow and storage fees, and a ticket.
You two are not related, is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Before you sold him your car, did you know each other?
No, I didn't.
You advertised the car for sale?
Yes.
Where?
I believe on Offers Up. It's a website.
And you never met him before?
I met him through my partner.
So you did know him before?
No, I met him when the transaction happened. I never met him before. I've heard of him, but I never met him.
I was just trying to figure out why you would sell him a used car that was your car and accept just a down payment to somebody that you didn't know at all. But there was a connection.
Yes, there was a connection.
Okay. And you sold him the car, according to you, for $1,800.
Yes, ma'am.
And he gave you a down payment of $800.
Yes.
And the idea was supposed to pay $100 a month, a week, until it was paid off?
$250 every month.
Every month?
Yes.
Okay. But he only gave you $100. So now he's paid $900 for the $1,800 car. So he's paid for half of it. And when did he give you the $800? Month?
I believe it was like a month and a week after.
Well, give me the month and year.
I believe it's September.
Is that when you purchased the car in September?
No, before that.
Oh, no. It was pretty, we did the paperwork on 8/11, I'm sorry, 2016.
But he didn't pick up the car until...
I actually gave it to him that day. We made a little contract.
May I see the contract,
Sure.
please? And you let him take the car with just a deposit, or...
Yes, but I actually withheld the pink slip.
The title. No, I understand. Okay, so this is what happened. You were driving the car, and you got pulled over.
Yes.
When?
I believe it was August.
So within 3 weeks of having the car.
Yes.
And you were pulled over for whatever you were pulled over for, but they discovered that you didn't have a driver's license.
Yes.
So they impounded the car.
Yes.
And now you've paid $900 for the car, but you didn't fully pay for the car. And I assume that you called Mr. Lopez and let him know what happened.
Well, no, I called his partner because I never had his phone number.
Fine. Called you.
Yes.
Would you stand up, please? The same day that it happened.
Yeah, that night I let him know. After that,
That it was impounded.
Yes.
And what date was that?
That was on the end of September. I don't know exact date, Your Honor.
No, it couldn't have been the end of September if he was pulled over in August.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was on the 26th.
Of what?
Of August.
I actually have his ticket.
Okay, so tell me the conversation that you had.
So he called me that evening. I believe he said he was coming home from work and that he was dropping off somebody. And when he was turning the left on, I'm not exactly what street it was, that a cop came behind him and pulled him over. Therefore, they did...
Whatever, they took his car.
Yes.
Now, so now we have this situation, which is not unusual. Now the car is an impound, you have the title.
Yes.
So they can't release the car to him because he has no license. You didn't know he had no license?
No.
Because that's not something you usually ask somebody, an adult. Do you have a driver's license? If you're buying a car, you presuppose that they have a driver's license if you're selling it. What you to do is sign the pink slip over to him so he can go get the car. That's what he says. That's what he says in his answer. So what he wanted you to do was, before he paid for the car, so he could get the car out of impound, that's what you wrote here. You wanted him to sign the car
Yeah,
over.
because they said if I got my license with Dean, I could pull it out.
Well, why would he? You wanted him to trust you.
Yeah.
What?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He's suing for storage fees. Now, you could have gone down and said, you know what, I got $900 for this car. I'm not giving it to him.
But I couldn't because they put a 30-day hold on it. That's where the 2000-something come in.
They put a 30-day hold. May I see that,
Yes,
please?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Alfonso Lopez is suing Joey Lopez for tow and storage fees, the unpaid cost of a car, and an unpaid ticket.
Here's your problem with your lawsuit, sir. You have no problem with part of your lawsuit,
Okay.
and that is for the full value of the car.
Okay.
But you let the car sit there in storage.
Well, technically...
No, not technically.
Okay, hold on.
You're suing for storage fees. Now, you could have gone down and said, you know what, I got $900 for this car. I'm not giving it to him.
But I couldn't because they put...
They put a 3 day... So are you telling me in the 3 days
30.
that it was on... 30?
Yes. That's where the 2000-something come in.
They put a 30-day hold. May I see that,
Yes,
please?
ma'am.
What was this one?
Right here.
And right here. It says 30 days.
And right here it says 30 days. And here's his ticket.
So
that
you
he
couldn't
gave.
take it out?
No. I tried to. So he wouldn't pay all the storage fees, so he wouldn't lose the car. I didn't want to, you know, go through this problem.
Well, he's not going to pay $3,000 for storage fees for a car that's only worth $1,800.
Exactly. And he actually contacted...
Now, all I want you to do is show me where it says that there's a 30-day hold on the car.
Can I go?
No. Would you ask him just to show that to me?
Right here, so it's 30 day.
30 day.
Yeah, it's very highly rated.
Very 30 day hold.
Right on the top, it says 30 day.
And the reason why we have his ticket, because he contacted Justin and told him, here's my ticket. Can you have Alfonso try to get the car out? I went in. It was closed that day, so I went, I believe 2 days after, which was on a Monday. I went in. The only way they would release it if I would say he stole it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Go ahead.
That was the only way they would take off the 30-day hold unless he got his license.
Because what they're doing is they're making you an insurer. They're making people uninsured to ask that question if you sell somebody a car or if you let them borrow the car, let me see your driver's license.
Yes.
If I say to Bird, I'd like to borrow your car, he says to me, fine, you know, I just need it for an hour. He said, let me see your driver's license.
Exactly.
They want people to do that so that you don't have unlicensed people driving around. Yeah, right, I got it. Well, it's sort of interesting. They made you an insurer of his good behavior. You owe him $3,800. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
All these are accused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Well, I don't know. She didn't give me a chance to say anything, so...
I'm very happy with it.
I still think it's unfair.
He was supposed to make $250 payments.
The contract was he wanted all the money at once.
Every month. And he fell back on his contract.
My license had expired, so...
Cash front, no car.
Speaking out after a savage dog attack.
She got aggressive. She had him in her mouth. She shook him 2 or 3 times. He was crying. He was in an awful lot of pain.
But the other dog's owners...
Did she give you her phone number?
Yes, she did.
Didn't want to hear it.
Her tone was irate, and it was along the lines of, I don't need you leaving me messages like this.
He called, yelling at me. He said, well, we should have talked man to man.
What does that mean, you should have talked man to man?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Michelle Neal is suing Valerie and Jose Betancourt for vet bills resulting from an attack at a dog park.
Order. All rise. It's case number 355 on the calendar in the matter of Neal versus Betancourt.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Neal, it is your claim that the Betancourt's German Shepherd attacked your dog.
That's correct.
And caused serious injury. Your vet bills were very high. The Betancourts say that they're very sorry that your dog was attacked, but it was some other German Shepherd. So,
my boyfriend Jesse...
Of this year?
Of this year, 2016. My boyfriend Jesse and I were at the park with my grandson and my granddaughter. We were walking on the dog path, which is generally where you walk, where you're just going to walk with your dog, not throw the ball. There's a field for that. So Jack was about 2 or 3 feet ahead of us when I noticed another German... Yes, this would be Jack.
It's Jack.
And Jack is 3 years old.
And he was not on a leash?
Not on a leash, because it's an off-leash park, but there are regulations, and I do have copies of the park rules and regulations. And he was just about 2 or 3 feet ahead of us when I noticed another dog, German Shepherd, come off to the side, start sniffing around. That's usually how they say hi. They sniff each other.
Okay, so this was a large dog that was alone?
A large German Shepherd. She did not appear at that time to have an owner.
Well, you assumed that someone was around. She didn't look like a stray dog.
Right.
Go ahead.
So after she nosed Jack a couple times, sniffed him, I thought, well, this is okay. She got aggressive. She picked him up by his sweater. She had him in her mouth. She shook him 2 or 3 times, pretty aggressively.
So he was wearing a sweater?
Yes, he was wearing a dog sweater. At that point, my boyfriend Jesse intervened, pulled the German Shepherd off. I reached down to grab Jack. I got a couple defensive wounds on both my hands because he was spinning in a circle. He was just frantic. Before I could pick him up, the dog escaped.
So the German Shepherd got out of his collar?
Yes, slipped out of the collar, which was not on tight, and that is an assumption. I will say that because I didn't see the collar, and picked him up again.
But your boyfriend was holding him back?
Yes.
And he slipped out and came in back and attacked your dog again?
Yeah.
Well, were you holding your dog at that time?
I had not been able to retrieve him. She swooped in too quickly and got him again. And that's when Jessie jumped in again, pulled her off, and restrained her. At that time, a bystander, I don't know who she was, God bless her, helped me. We threw my jacket around Jack, picked him up, and held him close like that. And it was very difficult to do because he was in a lot of pain. He was crying. He was in an awful lot of pain.
Where was the German Shepherd at that time?
Jessie had her restrained.
Okay.
And while he was restraining her at that point, that's when I noticed Miss Betancourt come up. She did offer an apology.
She?
Yes, she. She offered an apology. She had small children with her.
What did she say? She didn't say, I apologize. What did she say?
She was sorry.
She said, I'm sorry. What else did she say?
At that time, I have got to be honest, admit, I was more concerned with Jack, and Jack was still yelping. All I heard was, I'm sorry. My conversation with her was that I wanted her phone number because we were going to leave immediately to take our dog to the veterinarian.
Did she give you her phone number?
Yes, she did.
Who wrote down the phone number?
I pulled, you know.
Okay. Took the dog to the vet. Can I see the vet bills, please?
Yes, I'd like to hand him off because he's not real comfortable. You're not comfortable, Jack. I'm really sorry. Okay, let me flip to the back. This would be the initial vet bill. There was an additional vet bill. This is the breakdown of how those charges were.
Now, I assume you contacted Miss Betancourt at some point after you had the dog tended to by a veterinarian and surgery was completed. On what date did you contact her?
Well, actually, I contacted her immediately, hours after the initial incident.
Okay.
It wasn't just one vet visit.
Okay. So she gave you her correct phone number.
She did.
And can you tell me the conversation that you had with her?
I was not able to converse with her when I first tried to call her and text her. I got no response. And then I need to explain that at that time there was a lot of trauma. We hadn't even been able to get Jack out of our car. He was in so much pain. There was a lot of trauma.
When did you finally reach Miss Betancourt?
Later on in the late afternoon.
Of the 22nd?
Yes.
And tell me about the conversation.
She called me back and she was upset with me for leaving messages insisting that she call, insisting that they talk to us about doing the right things.
Just a second. I want you to tell me what she said.
Well, when I first picked up the phone and she called, her tone was irate, and it was along the lines of, I don't need you leaving.
What kind of messages did you leave?
My last message I left her was after numerous attempts to call her, and I was distraught, and I was irate, and I was, you need to contact her.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so she said, you have to stop leaving me messages like this, and then?
And then when I spoke to her, the end of our conversation was, your husband needs to contact Jessie. They need to talk about how we're going to resolve this issue.
And what did she say?
And she said that that would take place.
Did it?
It did take place.
So her husband contacted your boyfriend?
Well, there were things that happened in between. I'll make it as brief as I can.
I just want to know what your conversations were with the defendants.
Okay.
I want to hear how they responded. Did you have the next conversation?
He had the next conversation.
Tell me what your last name is, sir.
Lara, L-A-R-A.
Mr. Lara, you spoke to Mr. Betancourt?
Yes, I did.
Do you recall the date?
On the 23rd, the day after.
The day after. You contacted him?
He finally called me. I just walked out of the police department to file a report. He called, yelling at me.
What did he say?
Saying that there's no reason for us to be harassing his wife. She's very ill. She gets panic attacks where she falls down and she's immobilized for 30 minutes or so. Things we didn't know.
What did he say?
He said that, flat out told me that we had no case. And I said, Joey, we do have a case against you. He said, well, we should have talked man to man. And I just said...
What does that mean? You should...
What I said was I just was a little irate about how the conversation was going between them two. And he said, all I want to do is I just want to meet with you guys and go over exactly what happened. Well, that's great. Be adults, because we're all adults. Explain to me what happened. I'd love to meet with you. I never once said, let's talk man to man. That's not my lingo. So that's kind of all that happened, was that he just wanted to explain what's going on. So
well, good, but you weren't there.
At the park?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I was.
Oh.
Yes, I was at the park.
So I want you to tell me you were there with your wife and how many children?
3. We have 3.
How old are they?
2-year-old. Well, she's going to be 2. 8 and 10. Sorry.
Now, when your wife came up to the plaintiffs, where were you?
I was kind of still in the back.
In the back where?
Like running from the field going to that location. I
So-
kind of have a bad back, so running that way
Just a
was going to be a problem. So
What were you running from the field for?
to see what was going on, she started running with the baby.
Just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So she's holding the baby and
Mhm.
started to run.
Right.
And you were running after her.
Correct.
You didn't know why you were running after her?
All I seen was a big tussle going on over there, and I was just running to see what's going on with her because she just took off with my son. So, and she was running towards that. It's a big field.
How big?
Two football fields probably. It's kind
Really?
of long, yeah.
So your wife started running to where the action was?
Correct.
Well, you finally got to where your wife and baby were. Did you see the plaintiffs?
I did.
What was Mr. Lara doing?
He was standing there. I mean, he was holding a dog.
And where was your dog?
Nowhere to be found. Just kind of ran away.
Just a second.
Correct.
Your dog was nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
You have anything to say to me? You have anything to say to me?
Yes.
Just be careful what you say to me.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. I have some evidence of some of the voice messages that Michelle had
I don't
left
care.
me.
What your responsibility was to say I was not in control of my dog. I was not in control of my dog. My dog caused damage, whatever the damage is, because I was not in control of my dog. Just because the dog can be off leash doesn't mean you can't be in control of your dog. So you should have called her back immediately, because she's upset, just as you would be upset if her little dog ran up to your 2-year-old and bit your 2-year-old.
I understand.
You would be very upset if she didn't have control of her dog. And this little dog did damage to your 2-year-old. You would be upset. And if you call and you don't get a response because you're being blown off, because you see that it's going to cost you money, because you know that the dog was injured, and your stupid answer says, it wasn't my German Shepherd. What's your name? Fibber over here. You said, I have a witness that said my dog was with us all the time. That would be you. They brought you along to be the fibber. Because your friend here says the dog was 2 football fields away. Do you understand? Don't let anybody make a fool out of you. I didn't want to make a fool out. Put your hand down. I didn't want to make a fool out of you. He made a fool out of you. Why would you let another adult make a fool out of you? In front of me?
Your Honor.
I eat you for breakfast.
Your Honor, you
Judgment
asked...
for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're done here.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It was obvious by numerous text messages I had from her that this was their dog.
It was another dog. It was another dog.
I am saddened that we had to chase them because we gave them an opportunity of their own accord.
Just the text messages, the voicemails. You know, I have 3 kids. I don't have time to sit there on my phone, you know.
To come to us and talk to us about the situation.
All day, and if I didn't respond within 30 minutes, they're leaving me messages that they were going to euthanize my dogs.
Accept responsibility. If you're going to have a dog owner or a child for that matter, you are responsible for their actions.
So, you know, of course, we're going to bite back. We're not going to, you know, allow somebody to make threats to us and think that it's okay.
And that's what it comes down to. And if you give someone your word,
laying low for a little bit, you know, and we'll leave it at that.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Boucher versus Schaefer. Step forward.
Angelica Boucher is suing her brother-in-law, Charles Schaefer, for an unpaid loan during a time of need.
Ms. Boucher, the defendant is your brother-in-law. He is married to your husband's sister.
Yes.
This is your husband?
Yes, my husband, Mike.
Okay, and you claim that you made a loan to him. When did you make this loan to him?
It was November the 23rd, 2015.
What was it for?
It was because he was having a hardship and...
What was the loan for?
To pay his bills.
Just bills?
Yes.
You have a business?
I have a business, yes.
And your business, from what I gather from reading the papers, employed the plaintiff's husband.
Yes.
For how many years?
15.
Do you work?
No, I don't.
So your husband supported you?
Yes.
Supported you from money that he got from Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Now I'd like you to tell me what the money was for, because I'm not buying this whole case so far.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She's been diagnosed with something called Wagner's, and those chemo treatments, they're not covered entirely by insurance.
Just a second. I want you to understand what you just said to me, Mr. Schaefer. It's completely different from what you said to me in your answer.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Angelica Boucher says her brother-in-law, Charles Schaefer, owes for a loan.
What was the money for? He's the employer. Your husband's the employee. You don't work.
The money was to pay his bills because he was going through a hardship.
What was the hardship?
My sister-in-law was, she was depressed for 2 years, and she was the one that worked all the time, and they had money coming in. So the business got slow, and he needed the money.
I'd like to see the check that you gave him. Who wrote out the check?
My husband, Michael.
And do you have your bank account?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it. I'd like you to tell me where you had, your husband worked for him and you weren't working, so could you tell me where you got $32,000 from?
It was a settlement. It was an accident that I had.
Your accident?
Yes.
When?
2008.
And when was it settled?
About 5 years ago, 32.
Do you have your checking account?
No, I don't have my checking account.
Let's get it. We'll recall this case. Because what you say is that you gave him $9,999 as a loan, but you took out money from a savings account and transferred it to a checking account on November 24th.
That is correct.
Right. You have Chase Bank?
Yes.
Send a copy of your checking.
Send a copy of my checking?
Yes. That's what I want to see. We'll recall this case. Thank
Parties
you.
are excused. This case will be recalled. Step out, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you own your own home?
We do.
Did you take a mortgage out on your home?
We sold our home.
Because of this?
Because of this.
Tell me about the money that you took from your sister-in-law.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. In a case recall from earlier today, Angelica Boucher says her brother-in-law, Charles Schaefer, owes for a loan.
Recall. Case number 295 in the matter of Boucher versus Schaefer. Parties are reminded you're still under oath.
All right, Ms. Boucher, can I see the bank records from Chase for your checking account, please? All right, Mr. Schaefer, now you want to tell me what you needed this money for?
Look, my wife started feeling very ill.
I don't want to go back to 2013.
So now, snap forward, she's been diagnosed with something called Wegener's. And Wegener's is treated with chemo. And those chemo treatments they're not covered entirely by insurance. And they are $36,000 every treatment, 4 times a week for 5 weeks. So out of our pocket is that amount of money, and we had to do it consecutively 3 times.
Just a second. I want you to understand what you just said to me, Mr. Schaefer. It's completely different from what you said to me in your answer. You said you had to pay $36,000 4 times a week for 3 different rounds of treatment. Is that what you're telling me?
No, the treatments were $36,000, and that's what the treatments were, and our out-of-pocket was $6,000.
Okay, well, we forgot that. So you're telling me that you had to pay $24,000 a week.
Correct.
For 3 consecutive rounds of treatment. Is that correct?
It was 4 treatments. It's 4 treatments in 1 week.
But he said it was done 3 times.
Every 6 months, 3 times.
Every 6 months. So that you had to pay approximately $75,000.
Correct.
Over what period of time?
That was over 18 months. That was a great deal of it, yes.
What was the rest of it?
Well, also, she had to do hyperbaric treatments for 30 days. Those were as well $2,500 every single day.
Do you own your own home?
We do.
Did you take a mortgage out on your home?
We sold our home.
Because of this?
Because of this.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, tell me about the money that you took from your sister-in-law.
They gave us the money because they knew that we had nothing left.
Okay. It's an odd amount of money, $9,999. Could you explain that to me?
I don't know where they came up with exactly that amount of money.
Where did you come out with that amount of money?
Your Honor?
Yes.
I thought that would be the best amount in case we ever had to reclaim this money. It would be a lot easier to go to a small claims court, any amount under $10,000. So that's why I just lowered it by $1.
By $1?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, have a seat. I got it. Did you expect to be repaid?
Yes, Your Honor.
How?
He told me that in 3 months he was going to.
I told her that I didn't have any money to be able to tell her that. I told Michael actually that snapping forward, when they started telling me that it was a loan, that if it was a loan, I would have never accepted it because I wouldn't have been able to pay it back.
How much do you have left in your savings account now, Miss Boucher?
About $1,700.
Is your wife better?
I'm not.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Yes.
He gave me a check for February the 28th for 2016 for $2,500 for the loan.
I'd like to.
And on that, Your Honor, and on that check.
Don't do that. Well, you gave her $2,500, sir, in February, and you wrote in that balance $7,500. Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of my maximum, which is $5,000. That's all we're done.
All judge excused, you may step out. Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I thought they were being family members
I was just trying to help them as family members. I didn't even know that my sister was sick.
and wanting to help us in a time of need.
I'm sad to hear that she's been sick, you know, but we didn't know anything about it for 2 years. And he never talked. He doesn't really speak that much.
You know, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. My wife is still here, and we've made it through it so far.
I loaned them for, like I said, for the business.
It's been a long road for all of us. I'm glad to see it's over.
It wasn't because of her illness.
And now we can all just kind of move forward. My wife and I still have a long way to go because she's still very sick.
I just hope that she gets better and we move on.
Incident.
Mr. Shepherd came running at me and with full force pushed me off the lawnmower.
I reached out and I literally just touched him on the shoulder.
Come on, guys. If you're getting the idea that I'm not crazy about this case, you're right.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Michael Shepard is suing his neighbor, James Morrison, for disposing of his boat cover and harassment.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 353 on the calendar in the matter of Shepard versus Morrison.
Where do you come from, Mr. Shepard?
I'm Australian born.
And where do you live now?
Belle Plaine, Minnesota.
And how long have you lived there?
Since April of this year, Your Honor.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a mechanic.
And you, Mr. Morrison?
I'm South African and I live in Belle Plaine, Minnesota, and for a profession I do cybersecurity.
Did you know each other before you came here?
Only as neighbors.
Not before you came here, before you migrated here.
No, Your Honor.
You did not?
No, Your Honor.
And how long have you been neighbors, Mr. Shepard?
Since April, so 6-7 months.
It is your claim that the defendant disposed of a boat cover that belonged to you, that you had recently purchased.
No, it actually came with the boat when I purchased it, Your Honor.
When did you purchase the boat?
2011.
Where?
It was a private sale in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
So it wasn't a new boat cover?
No, it was not, Your Honor.
When you say in your complaint that it was a very expensive boat cover, how do you acquire that information?
Basically, because it's for a 1985 boat, so the boat cover has to be custom made. It's not something I can buy off the shelf. And I did have a boat cover, and Mr. Morrison, he disposed of my boat cover.
Okay, so the boat cover, at best, was 30 years old.
No, it was a lot newer than that. At most, it was 6 or 7 years old.
But when you bought the boat?
It was a lot newer than it was now, Your Honor.
What?
It definitely wasn't a 30-year-old boat cover.
Okay. You have a picture of the boat cover, sir?
Not on the boat. I've got pictures of replacement boat
No,
covers.
no. I'm not interested in replacements. I'm interested in a picture of your boat and the boat cover.
No, Your Honor.
So I see what it looks like. Okay. Because, Mr. Morrison, you're the neighbor. It's your claim that Mr. Shepard's landlord asked you to clean up the property around his house, and what you did was you found this old moldy tarp that was all ripped up. You thought it was trash, and you disposed of it. That's your response?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Who's the landlord?
My witness here.
That would be you.
Yep.
Okay, stand up, please.
Your Honor, James...
Don't speak. You're the landlord.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what kind of property is this?
It's a two-lot place with a extra building on the other lot, which is the place that Mike is inhabiting.
And your last name, sir?
Tolson.
Mr. Tolson, does Mr. Morrison ever do any work for you?
He does from time to time.
Okay, what kind of work does Mr. Morrison do for you?
He helps kind of take care of the property and
Okay, so he does maintain the property.
From time to time, yes.
Well, from time to time, you pay him on an ad hoc basis. You'll call and say, would you please clean up the premises? Or
No,
does he do it regularly? Do you pay him a monthly salary? Come on, guys. If you're getting the idea that I'm not crazy about that, understand?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Good, I'm very glad you understand.
To be perfectly honest...
I don't want you to be anything but perfectly honest, sir. I don't want you to be dishonest. That would be a very dumb thing for you to do.
The bolt cover has very little to do with this. There's been interactions between the two.
I don't care.
Okay. Then to answer your
let me
question...
explain something to you. This is the beginning of my day. I don't plan on starting the beginning of my day with nonsense. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Then let's get this case moving.
Okay.
Mr. Shepard says that Mr. Morrison, on a date certain, which was what date?
It was around August 10.
Around, because you don't know exactly. For some strange reason, disposed of your boat cover. Mr. Morrison says that he maintained the property, which you acknowledge, and that he says this was a torn-up, old, moldy thing, but it was on Mr. Shepard's premises.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Correct? And he says that he disposed of it because you asked him to clean up the property. Did you ask him to clean up the property on or about August 10th?
That's a very misleading question. I never asked him to clean up the property.
Great. Now, Mr. Morrison, then I come back to you, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
You actually were on the plaintiff's property because that's where the tarp, let's call it a tarp/cover, was located.
That's correct.
Right. Did you, prior to disposing of the cover, did you his and did he want it disposed of? The answer is either yes or no.
Can you repeat the question?
Very easy. I'll try to simplify it. On or about August 10th, did you ask Mr. Shepard that this item that was on his property was something he didn't want to keep and he wanted it disposed of?
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, then, Mr. Morrison, this is a very easy case. You cannot go on someone else's property who was renting the property and dispose of that property without asking them. The fact that, put your hand down, the fact that you claim that the witness asked you to dispose of it does not doesn't contradict that. Because I assume Mr. Shepard is a paying tenant, which means he has exclusive occupancy. Get out. Out. What you didn't understand. Out. Perfect. Gotta go that way. Now, you have to ask before you go on somebody's property and dispose of anything.
I understand.
Anything, a loaf of bread, a weed, anything. Because, you know, there's an old expression, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So you can't go on somebody else's property and say, this, you have to pay.
Your Honor, may I, at the time, I did offer to go and buy at the local sports, to buy another cover to replace it.
You bought one?
No, I said I would, and Mr. Tollefson said, no, hang on, I'll take care of it, because whose boat is
Morrison,
this? Yes,
I don't care.
Okay.
This is not going to be your show today. This is my show today. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. You need a big tarp to cover your boat that's 30 years old.
Your
right?
Honor.
Go buy one for $150.
Your Honor, the
150.
strange
Now
part-
I'm going to talk about his assault. You want to tell me about that? After you disposed of this cover, a week later, you want to tell me what happened. Now, keep it short, Mr. Morrison.
Your Honor, I used to...
Keep it short, Mr. Morrison.
All right. I used to use Ricky's lawn mower with his permission to cut both his property and my property. You know, that's what neighbors do.
No, I don't let my neighbors use my lawnmower.
Okay.
I don't use their toothbrush. They don't use my lawnmower.
I used it with his permission. I was cutting the lawn, and out
That's
of
a
the
lie,
corner
Your
of
Honor.
my...
I don't want to hear you.
Okay, Your Honor.
Out of the corner of my eye, I saw something rushing towards me, and I was going at full tilt now with...
Date. What?
9/29.
September 29th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so you saw someone, I'm going to look at that. You saw someone rushing at you and?
He was waving his arms wildly, swearing at me, complaining that I was The lawnmower was throwing rocks and grass at his vehicle, and I felt threatened.
Just a second. You felt threatened, and?
And he was shouting at me, calling me names. And I turned around to him and I said, nobody speaks to me like that. And I put the earmuffs back on, put the machine up at full power, and I proceeded to mow the lawn.
On his lawnmower?
On Mr. Tollefson's lawnmower, Your Honor.
On your lawnmower?
Yes.
I wasn't clear. It wasn't Mr. Shepard's lawnmower. It was your lawnmower.
But it was on my lot, Your Honor.
I don't care. That I don't care about.
Okay.
If you choose to allow the landlord to keep... If you choose to allow the landlord to keep the lawnmower on your property for your convenience, that doesn't make it your lawnmower.
Oh, yes,
Do you understand?
Your Honor.
Good. Now, don't say anything else.
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfect.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Mr. Shepard came running at me and with full force pushed me off the lawnmower. I fell off the lawnmower. Luckily, I did not get injured because it was going at...
Ridiculous for me to believe that Mr. Johnston said, you know what, I'll just take $35 in cash, and on the outside chance that you can hook me up with some marijuana, I'll take the rest off. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Shepard says neighbor James Morrison disposed of his boat cover. James is countersuing for assault.
Go ahead.
Mr. Shepard came running at me and with full force pushed me off the lawnmower. I fell off the lawnmower. Luckily, I did not get injured because it was going at full...
Good.
Okay.
Good. Now I'll see the police report. Pen ran out of ink. Okay, so pretty much the story. James was mowing his neighbor's lawn and claimed he was pushed off his lawnmower by Michael. That would be you?
That would be me.
Michael said James was kicking up rocks and hitting his car with the lawnmower. No damages, no injuries. Both were advised not to speak to each other if they cannot get along. Both agreed not to talk to each other and go their separate ways. And that's the extent of it.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Your Honor,
now, all I want to know from you, Mr. Shepard... Let me finish. Did you push Mr. Morrison off the lawnmower?
Your Honor, no, I did not.
Good. Tell me what happened.
Okay, James was mowing the lawn. He'd previously been told to stay away, make no contact. Ricky had, in fact, told him not to mow the lawn that day.
I asked you what happened.
Yep.
Not what was previously told. I asked you what happened on the 29th of September.
Okay, Your Honor.
He's mowing the lawn. You see him mowing the lawn.
I get home from work and I see James mowing the lawn, and I went inside my abode. I came back out when I heard him come back around the yard, where I saw him going around counterclockwise and discharging rocks and all the debris at my vehicles, which I have a photo of.
Go ahead.
And I walked up to James. I said, James, could you please turn the lawnmower around so that you're not discharging at my vehicle? At which point, James started yelling at me and calling me names and then threatening me.
And what did you do?
I kind of sat there dumbfounded, wondering what to do.
Well, you didn't sit there. You were standing.
I was standing, sorry.
Uh-huh.
At which point, James revved up the lawnmower and continued on. I reached out and I literally just touched him on the shoulder. At which point, he jumps off the lawnmower. I work in noisy environments. I have my entire career. That's how you get the attention of people who are distracted by noise. He said, ran away, saying, I'm calling the police, you just assaulted me.
Got it. Got it. You have any medical records?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Good, very good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $150. Your counterclaim for assault is dismissed. We're done. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I have a claim for $1,000 for harassment from James.
Did you understand what I just said?
Please excused. You may step out.
It's a crazy story.
The guy's threatened my life a couple of times.
How it's morphed from me doing a good favor for a friend.
He's crazy.
Into it turning into this massive story.
I hope that James just leaves me alone. That's all I've ever really wanted.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Worley versus Johnston, step forward.
Jason Worley is suing his former employer, William Johnston, for unpaid wages and storage fees.
Mr. Worley, I'd like you to tell me how you met Mr. Johnston.
I met Mr. Johnston because...
Listen to me. Don't look down there.
Sorry, ma'am.
Look over here.
Okay.
I'm going to start all over again.
Okay.
Mr. Worley, I want you to tell me how you met Mr. Johnson.
I called him back sometime in March of this year to get a screen printing machine moved.
That's what he says. A screen printing machine, which was a big machine.
Yes, ma'am.
And where did you want it moved from and to? Called him why?
Because I had heard he was the cheapest in town.
So when you called him, did you discuss the price?
Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am. Sorry.
And what was the price to move?
$75.
And you agreed to that?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you came to take this printing unit to storage, did you pay him?
Yes, ma'am.
How much?
$75.
Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Did he pay you?
He paid me some.
How much did he pay?
He paid me $35.
In all honesty, the cash was $35, and then he requested a bag of marijuana as the rest of the payment. So...
Just a second. Mr. Worley, you see, I have a nose for what's going on.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out who you are.
Yes, ma'am.
Because what happened is Mr. Johnston came, you had agreed on a price, he moved the unit,
yes,
then asked you for payment. It's kind of ridiculous for me to believe that Mr. Johnston said, you know what, I'll just take $35 in cash, and on the outside chance that maybe you can hook me up with some marijuana, if you can, I'll take the rest off. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I hear you, yes.
Ah, right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You never had a contract with him for money. Any money, zippo, nada. No money. You can say whatever you want to the back of my hand.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jason Worley says his former boss, William Johnston, owes for wages and storage fees for an Audi.
Okay, so when he came and he moved it, you didn't pay him all the money. You only had $35 of the $75. Now, you want to tell me why?
We had discussed the marijuana thing. It was at his request, not mine.
Now, how would that come up? How would that come up?
I'm going to tell you. He walked in.
I want you to tell me.
He walked into my house. He wanted something to drink. I believe I got him a cup of coffee. We then started to BS back and forth. My house smelled like pot because I was growing it. He said, you know, I'd be willing to work a trade. I probably have a text somewhere in my phone that would verify that he had gotten it from me before.
Is that what happened?
No.
You want to tell me what happened?
I did smell the marijuana, and he didn't pay me until I finished the job. And then he said to me that if I would be willing to trade for the rest of it, that he had some marijuana that he would be willing to get rid of.
So far, Slick, you're not doing well. All you had to do was play it straight. Move my printing machine, and here's $75, as I agreed.
I had enough cash.
Now, the next thing is, now you have a buddy. So after he moved this printing machine, because, Mr. Johnson, I'm not so sure that what you said to me is true, because now he was Slick. You said, no, I don't want it, so right now he owes you $40. Because Mr. Worley said that he bartered a car, bought/bartered. And this is what he says. He says he told you, because you own this parking lot or garage or whatever where you can sometimes get cars, that he was looking for a particular kind of car. And you just happened to come up with that particular kind of car, a 2004 Audi?
2000 Audi, ma'am.
2000 Audi. So after this thing where he stiffed you, you were prepared to let him work on a car for you in exchange for this 2000 Audi. See, Mr. Johnson, that doesn't make sense to me.
No.
But that's what you say in your answer. It doesn't make sense to me that a grown-up man who's gotten stiffed in his business from this kid because he paid you $35, and now you're talking about bigger money. Now you get into a conversation with him. He fixes cars. He knows about cars. You know what? The whole thing smells. He's got this Audi that you want, but he's got another car, and he says to you, you know, if you work on this car and get it into tip-top shape, I'll give you the Audi. That's what you say happened.
Yes.
And you worked on the car.
Yes.
And got it in shape, and then he would not give you the title to the Audi.
No, ma'am. Instead, he gave me a forged...
Just a second.
Oh,
he wouldn't give you the title to the Audi.
No, ma'am.
Now you don't want the Audi.
No.
You want the money for working on his other car.
Yes, ma'am.
Your case is dismissed. We're done. That wasn't your contract.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you get the outing. If I'm satisfied that you actually did the work, that's fine. But you never had a contract with him for money, for an hourly wage for working on the car. So you're not getting any money, zippo, nada.
May I say
no
something?
money. You can say whatever you want to the back of my hand, but you are not getting any money. If you want the car, I'll direct him to sign a title over to the car if he has it, if I'm satisfied that you...
He still hasn't put the Audi into his name, nor is he allowed to sell cars. When I first met him, and I started to work for him...
I don't care.
Oh.
Do you understand? I don't care. Your contract was not work for hire.
That was my
Your
contract.
no.
I had worked for him before this incident.
Oh, please, I don't believe either one of you. We're done here. Thank you very much. Bye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Having me do work and then not paying for it and giving me a forged receipt instead.
He didn't finish repairing the car. He forged himself a document.
I took it to the DMV. It's fake.
He says a lot of things that aren't true.
Don't do work with good guys towing.
Close this chapter.
She's going to deny that. Her credibility is not reliable, Your Honor. She told me that she was divorced, which she really wasn't.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Clifton McNeil is suing his ex-fiancée, Rashina Jones, for the return of tools, a basketball hoop, and an engagement ring.
Now it's case number 345 on the calendar in the matter of McNeil versus Jones.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. McNeil, what kind of work do you do?
I'm an employee packaging department for Fresenius Cabe, Your Honor, in Grand Island, New York.
How long have you been there?
Since February of this year, Your Honor.
Prior to that, where were you working?
I was working for RTI Groceries and Deli.
And you, Miss Jones, what kind of work do you do?
I own a grocery store and a deli, and I work for the VA.
This is what this case is about. The two of you lived together for about 3.5 years. And Mr. McNeil gave you a ring. You were engaged to be married. According to him, he lived with you and your children.
Yes.
Above a store that you work?
Yes.
That's yours? So you have an apartment above the store that you own?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. McNeil says he participated working in that store during the course of the 3.5 years, but the relationship went south. He left, and according to Mr. McNeil, he left some property there. He left the engagement ring there. He left a basketball hoop.
Yes, ma'am.
How much did you pay for the basketball hoop?
About $480, roughly.
$480.
Yes, ma'am.
And when did you purchase it?
May of 2015 from Walmart.
And who used it?
My son and her daughter.
Was your son living with you?
No, but he comes over visiting.
Well, so when he visited, but her daughter used it.
Yes.
So it was bought for her daughter to use and for your share.
Yes, Your Honor, but primary is for my son's use. So if I leave, I would want the rim to leave. So
I don't care. That's ridiculous.
You don't care.
Ridiculous. Okay. So you left the engagement ring, the basketball hoop, and what else?
Miscellaneous tools, which I'm not concerned about because I have no pictures to prove that I left them there.
So that we're here talking about an engagement ring.
Yes, Your Honor.
You see what a fair person I am, Miss Jones?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where's the ring?
I don't have the ring, Your Honor.
That's not what I... Listen to me. Where's the ring? We women understand each other.
Yes.
So I'm asking you, where is it? I sold it. I lost it. I gave it to my daughter. I gave it to my cousin. I threw it out a window. I'm asking you, where is it?
He had the choice to go upstairs and get all his belongings, and he had bought watches and rings. It was all in the drawer. He took everything he had that he wanted to take on his own. I haven't seen it since he left.
So your answer is you haven't seen the ring since he left?
Yes, Your Honor.
You were not wearing it when he left?
Absolutely not.
On what date did he leave?
April, sometime in April.
And when did you stop wearing the ring?
Like months ago. I don't wear jewelry. I never really wore it a long length of time anyhow. In 2014, I think I only wore it about a month because I move with my hands, so I never wear jewelry on my hands too much.
Is there any reason why you weren't married 2 years later?
Well, Job. It takes money to get married, and I'm
Well, he really didn't want more money. He was living in your house anyway.
Right. But I mean, it took more than just living in my house. We, take two to get married, and we just never got married because we never had the funding, and it just didn't work out. No hard feelings about that. I worked hard all my life, and
Mr. McNeil, she says that you took all of your jewelry when you left, including that watch that I assume you took, the watch that you're wearing.
No, ma'am. She talking about the watches I bought her. I never took.
I'm talking about that watch that you're wearing.
I didn't have this watch when I was with her.
You didn't? You just bought that watch?
This is recently.
You must have had a stroke of good fortune.
Yes, casino, casino.
She doesn't have the ring.
Yeah.
Show me proof that she has the ring.
And she said that she ain't wear the ring until 2014?
No, that's not what I asked you.
I know, so proof.
That's not what I asked you. I see it's on her, I see that's on her finger. Is that taken after you left in April?
No.
He left in April, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that picture taken after April?
No, Your Honor.
She says she doesn't have the ring. You want
Of course, Your Honor. Of course she's going to deny that.
No, that's not what I asked you, sir. She said when you left, you want to know is whether you have proof that she had the ring after you left in April.
I can prove, Your Honor, that her credibility is not reliable, Your Honor. She told me that she was divorced, which she really wasn't.
All right, Mr. McNeil, listen to me. Sir,
well, I'm saying she's lying about the ring, Your Honor.
You lived in Miss Jones's apartment. She has a counterclaim. According to your complaint, you paid $1,400 for the ring that I assume you have proof of. Do you have proof of that?
Your Honor.
Fine. You don't have to show me. You have proof that you paid $1,400 for the ring. You lived in her home.
I worked.
You lived in her home. What was the rent arrangement in her home for you?
Wasn't one, Your Honor.
You never had any rent arrangement?
That was never established.
Did you have a joint bank account?
No, Your Honor.
Well, how did you pay your share of the bills?
This right here, Your Honor. As you see, I worked for her.
I'd like to see it. How many hours a week did you work for her?
40+ hours. It was always 40+, Your Honor.
Is that true?
No, Your Honor.
How many hours a week did he work at the store?
When he was working, it's about 25, he stopped working because it wasn't working out.
When did he stop?
He worked there for about a couple months, and then we just...
Give me a month and year.
I say about August, in the summertime, August.
Of what year?
Of 2015.
And what did he do after August of 2015? Did he get another job?
No, Your Honor.
So what did he do?
I'm
asking you, he got another job. He said he was working someplace.
He got a job, then he quit or got fired. I'm not sure. I wasn't there. And then he just...
He got a job doing what? Do you remember?
Working in this factory. A factory, I forgot exactly what he did, but he was there a couple months, about 2 months, and then he stopped.
What kind of factory?
Your Honor,
Listen to me. What kind of factory?
I'm trying to find out the same factory, Your Honor.
Did you get a job around
No,
August?
Your Honor. I did. I worked for RTR. That was the whole purpose of this commitment that I dealt with while I was involved with Miss Jones, Your Honor.
Where are you living now?
I'm living at 16th Avenue, Your Honor.
God, how much do you pay in rent?
$350 a month, Your Honor.
Who do you live with?
I live by myself.
And you're working?
Yes.
When did you get the job?
I got the job just before, 2 months before I left her.
So you had the job 2 months.
I couldn't.
Shh. So you got the job 2 months before you left her in April. So you got the job in February. Pay attention.
Not factory job, Your Honor.
I don't care what kind of job. You got the job in February.
Yes, Your Honor, but I just
Right.
can't. When I get hired,
Don't. You got the job in February. You left in April.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that you weren't working 60 hours a week at her grocery then if you had another job.
No. Your Honor.
Talk to me, Your Honor. I know who I am.
You misunderstand what I'm saying. I did work 40+ hours. She's sitting here lying in the court.
I'm asking you a very simple question. You told me you got your present job that you're working out now in February. You still lived with Miss Jones in February and March. You didn't leave her house until April. That's in these papers. So for at least 2 months, you were working someplace other than her grocery store while you were living there.
She got compensated. She always got paid half my earnings on any job I had.
I'm throwing out your case because you're not answering my questions. We're done. We're going to be done with your case. Now we're going to go to the counterclaim. Do you understand me? I asked you simple questions. You have a scenario you want to get to. The answer is you worked someplace else other than her grocery store for 2 months while you were living there. So you weren't living there, working your full-time job at her grocery store. Therefore, you didn't pay any rent. There would be no reason for you to pay rent because you were working in the family business. That I understand. But when you leave the family business and go to work someplace else, and are not working in the family business, February and March, how much did you pay her for your upkeep? February and March, how much did you pay her for your upkeep?
$200, Your Honor.
$200 a month?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? You could have said $100.
Okay.
You could have said $400.
I know I could have said that, but why I lied?
Because the story has changed.
Okay,
Did he
story
give you
changed.
any money in February and March?
Yes, he did.
How much?
About 500.
Each month?
Yes.
You see, look at that. Look at that. She just said you gave her $500 each month in February and March. You said a couple hundred.
I ain't give her no 500. I know I ain't give her no 500 each month. But if she want to say that, I appreciate it.
Listen, folks, the love affair is over. The romance is over. I will say goodbye to you. Go find happiness elsewhere. She doesn't know where your ring is. And if he gave you $500 a month, which part of the counterclaim was for rent, and you just told me he gave you $500 for February and March, he gave you enough. We're done. Goodbye.
And a damaged car, too.
Goodbye.
Artist, excuse me,
Thank you.
step out. She's lying clearly. Of course she's going to say I took everything.
Every good thing comes to an end.
When I asked her about the ring while I'm leaving, she said you're not getting nothing back.
If he feel like I'm rotten, the way he feel is okay.
Period. That's what type of woman she is. You know, her whole, you know, she's a fraud.
I mean, when you hurt, you say mean things. And
being that she's out here in Hollywood, they might want to put her on the Lifetime channel because she's great at it.
Probably more angry with herself than me because I've never done anything to him.
But I do appreciate that she didn't kill me at the end.
I have nothing bad to say about him. Things end.
And now the next case.
Step forward.
Tanisha Vinny is suing mechanic Brian McCracken for losing her car.
Miss Vinny, how do you know the defendant?
Through a friend, mutual friend.
How long have you known him?
Maybe about a year now.
And you knew he was a mechanic?
Yes.
You were having some trouble with the car that you owned. That was a 2005?
Well, I had body damage, that he also fixes.
It was just body damage?
Yes.
Had you been in an accident?
Yes.
When did you purchase the car?
August 4th, 2016.
From whom?
He's a friend, mutual friend.
Name?
Nathan.
Nathan what?
I don't know his last name.
Well, you had the title to the car, so you must have known the last name of the
Yes,
person.
I have it. It's on here. I have it.
What's his last name? Or take a look at the retail price of the 2005 Pontiac Grand Prix.
Nathan.
And how much did you pay, Mr. for the car in August?
$5,000.
Retail price?
$35.25.
You overpaid. Is that good condition, bad condition? What does it say?
Private party good.
Private party good. $35.25. You have proof that you paid him $5,000?
Yes.
I would just like to see proof why you paid him $1,500 more than the car is worth.
It came with extra things. Okay.
Doesn't do it for me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I took the car down to my shop. I locked it up, put the keys away, and the car went missing. I mean, I think she had something to do with the car missing. I'm not sure. But for the car to be taken out of my shop was just odd to me.
Mr. McCracken?
Yes, sir.
You have a drug problem, sir?
And later today,
You had used the car before on numerous
several occasions, right.
On this occasion, you had an accident with the car.
Right.
Right. So don't tell me that the car was bad because you had used the car often before.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tanisha Vinny says mechanic Brian McCracken mysteriously lost her car. She is suing for its value.
Now, proof that you paid him $5,000.
I don't have proof besides that it was switched over by a notary.
Did you pay him in check or cash?
Cash.
Good. Where did you get the money from?
I got a check from a car that I had wrecked from my insurance company, so I used that.
Well, what did you do, endorse the check over to him?
No, I cashed it through my bank and gave him the cash.
So, at some point in August, at the beginning of August...
No, I'm sorry, I said August. It was April 4th. I'm sorry, not August.
So it's part of the bank transaction. So you would have a transaction on April 4th, 2016 for a check that you were cashing that was going to be held against your account if you got your bank account. And you're telling me that that would be for $5,000?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
I don't have that.
Don't get it, unless you want to tell me how much you paid him for the car.
I paid him $5,000 cash.
Then you overpaid by $1,500. Now, when were you in the accident with the car?
July 17, 2016.
You dropped it off at his house?
Yes.
To fix the damage?
Yes.
On what date?
July 27, 2016.
What happened to her car?
I took the car down to my shop. I locked it up, put the keys away, and the car went missing. I don't know what happened to the car. It's just odd the car went missing, and she just keeps harassing me about it and harassing me about it.
Just a second.
So, I mean, I think she had something to do with the car missing. I'm not sure. But for the car to be taken out of my shop was just odd to me. So, I just know it was stolen. That's all I could tell you,
You
Your
have
Honor.
a police report?
Yes, I do.
May I see it, please? Mr. McCracken,
Yes, Your Honor.
do you have a drug problem, sir?
Used to, yes.
What?
Used to, yes.
Well, did you have a drug problem in July?
No, I was getting help then.
I have the landlord.
Just a second.
I'd like to speak as a witness.
I didn't say yes.
Sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
The roads were wet and the car spun out of control.
As a result of that accident, was the car undrivable?
Yes.
So I'd like you to explain to me why you think you're not responsible to replace the car.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tanisha Vinny says mechanic Brian McCracken mysteriously lost her car. She is suing for its value.
Well, the incident report that the police took as a result of speaking to you say that your car was stolen and the value of it was $3,000.
Well, I looked up the Kelly Blue Book value.
Just a second.
Okay.
That's what it says.
Okay.
Listen! You had custody and control over this car, and it was your responsibility to keep it safe, in a safe condition. She gave you money towards fixing it. How much she gave you, according to this, because they spoke to you.
We got the parts.
What difference does it make if she has the parts, Mr. McCracken? If she doesn't have the car, what is
Well,
she
we
supposed
paid
to do?
for them, didn't we? So, I mean, at least they were paid for. I didn't take the money and go blow it on anything.
Oh, I think you probably did, along with the car. That in July helped you. Or if it did, maybe it came a little too late for her car. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,540. That's all. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I mean, the car was stolen. I didn't steal the car, so there's nothing else I can say.
I didn't think he would ever do it. He's done work on other cars of mine, and it was never an issue.
I think she had something to do with it, to tell you the truth.
So for this to happen, I don't know why it would ever happen.
Because she wanted $5 grand for a car that's only worth $3,500.
It's crazy.
I mean, you can't fight Judge Judy, so.
I'll never do business with him ever again, so.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Sly versus Randolph. Step forward.
Nija Sly is suing her former friend, Linda Randolph, for borrowing her car and totaling it.
Ms. Sly, according to you, you've known the defendant for 20 years. She's
Yes.
sort of close to you. She
Yes.
borrowed your car and totaled it. You want her
Yes.
to replace the car. What kind of car did you have?
A Honda Accord, 96.
When did you purchase it?
I purchased it at the beginning of the year, around February.
From whom?
From her daughter's boyfriend.
What did you pay for the car?
I paid $1,000.
Did you have an accident with the car?
Yes.
And as a result of that accident, was the car left undrivable?
Yes.
So I'd like you to explain to me why you think you're not responsible to replace the car. They not have collision insurance with the car because the car is 20 years old. She paid a relatively small amount. Would you check on that car for me, will you, please, Bird? Why you don't think it's your responsibility?
Okay, so on said day that I borrowed Miss Sly's car, I used it and went down the road. I did have it was like a car accident. Not like I hit anybody, wasn't speeding. It was the car itself. The roads were wet and the car spun out of control.
So?
When the police arrived in the ambulance and all so forth, they explained to me that the car...
No, you can't tell me what anybody said to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you had used the car before on numerous occasions.
Several occasions, right.
On numerous occasions. She let you borrow the car on numerous occasions, and you returned the car on numerous occasions.
Right.
On this occasion, you had an accident with the car. So don't tell me that the car was bad, because you had used the car often before.
Okay.
You had used the car often before.
Okay.
Without any incident.
Without any incident.
Correct. So.
Okay. So at the accident scene.
How much does it? $1,000 for
Yes, it was a used car from a some guy he knew. It was just sitting there, so he wanted to get rid of the car. So
Fine. It's a bargain. Judging for the plaintiff, the amount of $1,000. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy. Division over her dead mother's vehicle.
The truck really should have been yours.
She's telling everybody that we were divorced.
You may not want to treat it as a marriage, but your mother treated it as a marriage.
Next Judge Judy.
Next on WBZ Channel 4.
She called me and told me that she got into a car accident.
The car spun out of control.
I asked her what happened. She said that she swerved.
She was upset.
And did a 360 and rolled 3 times.
Her car was totaled.
She was gonna get a car.
Take the responsibility, but she didn't want the car I wanted to give her.
That wasn't to the condition my car